Hello and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast. This is episode 30, guys. 30.
Heck yeah.
The Video Game Dads podcast, where three guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are a bi-weekly, family-friendly, independent amateur podcast. All those words put together. Anyway, we have three hosts this week. To my left
is Michael.
And I'm Shane.
And I'm Ben. And between the three of us, we've got, 5 kids under 5?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So getting together is not the easiest thing. Adam couldn't make it tonight, but he should be on for the next episode.
Yep.
I can't believe we got to 30, guys. Right?
We're there.
30
amazing.
in like a year and 4 months or something like that. So
Our back hair's getting long.
Yeah.
Are we starting to get back hair? No.
I've never had back hair.
Oh, man. No, mine's kicking. I'm looking
Is
like
it?
a Wolfenstein right now. Yeah,
Okay.
man.
I wouldn't picture it. I'd picture more Michael having the back hair, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Oh,
If you took a look at Michael compared to the rest of us, he's the one with the back hair.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hairy. Yeah. I am pretty hairy.
Michael's acknowledging it completely.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
for
lie.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So anyway, it's good to see you guys. It's been the last couple of weeks been hard to get together.
Yes. Computer problems and then family, just life kicking our butt.
Yeah, everything under the sun.
Yep.
But I think we kind of wanted to start out this podcast talking about something that is, I don't know, very special, very important announcement that has a lot to do with Shane and his kiddos. So kind of take it away, Shane.
Yeah, I just wanted to let all our listeners and everybody that listens that my daughter is cancer-free.
Awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's just overwhelming just to just find out everything, and just we got our rescans about 2 weeks ago. I've been anxious to sort of tell everybody, but we got our rescans. It came back no active cancer, anything like that. She does have a little bit of scar tissue in there. It's about the size of a pencil, and
Like pencil head or something?
yeah, like a pencil eraser.
Okay.
So it's very small, but it's a scar tissue actually. So it's not part of the tumor. It's a scar tissue because all the treatments we've done, and it sort of blasts away, which is really great because from where we started was the size of under a softball in the size of her throat. So we are so fortunate to be at the point that we're at right now. So now we're at get rescans every 3 months,
But treatments are done.
treatments are done,
Which
so
is awesome.
Yes, very, very awesome. So
how many times a week were you going?
It varied. So we had weeks that we would go 5 times a week, and then we'd have some that were just 3, and then some were 2 or 3 that we'd have to actually stay in the hospital. My wife would have to take off work and stay in the hospital for a day or 2. And then we had 2 months of where my wife and kids, my daughter was gone for in St. Louis to get her radiation done there.
Yeah.
So, because she had a specific one that we wanted to do that sort of homed in on the beam there instead of scattering, so she didn't have as many as problems going forward. So
yeah, because radiation, it's something. I guess it was. I forget what it was called. I looked it up when you talked about it, but it was a specific type of radiation that really helps pinpoint.
Yeah, proton. Yeah, it's proton.
I looked it up too.
Yeah, proton. So it doesn't scatter as much. I mean, we had a clinic just right down the road we could have went to, and it would have been a lot easier on us. But we looked at the benefits of it being so condensed beam, just taking care of everything, that we just had to do it, even though it was a lot harder on us, it was a little bit harder on her. She had to be put out every time that we'd done that, every time we did it. But I think it was the right call.
Proof is
thank
in
God
the pudding.
my wife really talked me into that, because I just, the way our family works is we see each other so much throughout the day. We do everything together. I barely leave the house with my kids and without my kids or my wife. So it was very hard, but it worked out though.
Yeah, and I know, longtime listeners know and are probably ecstatic to hear all this, because we've had support for Lexi and Shane since this all started about a year ago.
Yep.
And I know the last 3 to 6 months has been extra hard on you. Even I think the sense I kind of got was, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah,
really, because
exactly.
you've been through the ringer, you've been through what we can't even imagine, really, like the worst nightmare ever. That any parent could think of, having your kid diagnosed with a cancer, cancer that's not like turnkey, do this and get it done. It's hard treatment for, what was it? I mean, right, 8 month, 9 month treatment. I mean, it's been now a year, but
yeah, it came out to 10 months. So yeah.
And I remember when you said that felt like so long.
Yeah,
away.
and we looked at how many times it was, and we just looked at the number, and we're like, oh my, we just couldn't believe it. Like,
yeah,
she's gonna have to go through this for this long, and who knows what the outcome will be. Like, you just look at it that way, and you're just like,
yeah.
But
must be a huge weight off.
It is a huge weight. I mean, it's like, it feels like you could almost go in, and our doctor told us is you could go back to being normal. It's like, yes, you're gonna have these rescans, and you're gonna be worried every time they come up, but you just got to go back to being normal. And even the first day that I found out on our rescans, I sort of was like, oh my god, like,
is this real?
Is this real? And just sort of, was still not in the greatest mood, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, but then I was like, this is really great news, and it's gonna
be. You haven't had great. I mean, you've heard it shrinking each time, but I know at the end of the day, it's like, well, it's shrinking now.
Yeah.
I know you were looking at, well, it's shrank a little less than last time, and it's like so hard to just when you're looking at it, you still know, okay, the cancer's there, there, but when you got that rescan done, you probably just like, well, I don't believe it. Scan her again, right?
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, okay, can we scan every month too? It's like, but no, they said that's not the thing that you do. The protocol's 3 months, and I believe in our doctors, and they've been great for us ever. Yeah. So I trust them. So.
Oh, and I bet Lexi's ecstatic. She had to,
awesome. She's starting to put back on weight, so she's looking really good, really healthy. Even just like the little things of like her playing like a video game, she would have troubles pressing the buttons at times, and now she's
blown out, tired.
And now it's just like she's strong. She's, playing around on trampoline, just great again, and her and her brother are really wrestling now, and it's amazing. It just feels somewhat back to normal. It's just, you can't explain it. It's just so great. Like.
Yeah, we were looking at the dates because we went to Super BitCon, and that was a couple weeks, maybe if that, a week or two before you found out, and you found out. I mean, pretty, I guess. Sore throat, right? She
sore
was
throat. She was sort of drooling,
talking a little funny.
Yeah, talking a little funny. She had a sore throat. She's drooling out of her mouth, which is really weird. And if you don't think your kid is feeling right, take them in. That's why you have insurance. Take them in. Just keep taking them in, and have the doctor actually look too. And we were lucky and fortunate enough. We could have got passed off and could have waited another 3 weeks or something. Oof. But the doctor actually opened up her mouth and looked in there and seen something was going on and sent us downtown. So very fortunate that our doctor took the time and did that. Yeah. So, I mean, be persistent with your child. Just, if you think something's wrong, have them check it out. I mean, be that annoying parent. That's what you have to be. There's nothing wrong with that. So
yeah, and I bet you guys know now medical care and all that stuff a little too intimately now. Like all the, I saw a nice post through your Facebook. I think that your wife Beth put on just like, thank you to this, thank you to that, and and of course, you guys have been the ones that have to be, her brave soul. You called it her chemo, because she's little. She's 4, right, when this happened, or was she? Yeah, 4 and then turned 5. So from 4 to 5.
No, she turned. She was 3 and then turned 4.
Jeez.
So,
okay, 3 to 4. Yeah. So her ability to comprehend any of this, having her port placed, having
she thinks it's normal. I mean,
the needles and all the stuff she went through, which was just like you called it her superpower juice.
Yeah,
right?
superpower juice. Yep, that's what we called it. Her superpower juice, because we just try to make it. I don't know, not normal, but just sort of something.
The superhero spin on it.
Yeah, superhero spin on it. You got to do something like that. So
no, it was great. Yeah,
and we ran with it, and she ran with it, and she, like I said, she's my superhero. Like there's no Superman, there's no Batman, there's Lexi to me. Like that's she's done so great. I can't put into words on how happy I am and like how grateful I am for everybody. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up too is thank you for everybody that donated, because we do have insurance, but my wife's missing work. I'm a stay-at-home dad. There's bills that just keep coming, and I just want to say thank you to everybody. I mean,
you guys were like living in St. Louis for a while too.
Yeah, we lived in St. Louis lived there for 2 months. And then they would come home every few weeks, and there's gas money, and she's not working for 2 months, and it's just, I can't explain. I mean, all the people, even just people that tweeted or said thank you or donated. I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of everything that you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say, really. Just that, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you. I still can't imagine for the next year, for however long scans go, but I mean, for this kind of outcome from where you started to a year now, I mean, you can't really imagine a better outcome.
Yep.
She's out on the other side, stronger than ever. Her hair's going to grow back. I'm sure doctors have told you her hair's going to come back, probably a different color.
Yeah, we're going to different color. They said, don't worry, her color is not the color what it is right now. And she's got stubbles now. We've had stubbles one time before, and I was like, oh, so excited. It's like, maybe it's come back early, because that happens sometimes. But it fell out. But this time it's coming back, and we're going to grow our hair out together, and it'll be cool. So.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's so weird. She doesn't want her hair back, though. So she's just like, I just want to stay bald. It's like, I don't want no hair. Hair, because I think she's just used to it. And she's sort of a tomboy, so she doesn't like having her hair done or anything like that. So because I never did it as a child. I just combed her hair. And
the listeners didn't know Shane shaved his head also.
Yeah, I shaved my head also. So I used to have pretty long hair, and I shaved it when I found out my daughter had it, which now I really found out I really do actually love my long hair.
You guys can grow it back out together. That's awesome. And another thing, she's so young, but when she turns 10 or 11, this will be a memory, but kind of a distant memory, right? She's going to hear about a lot of this more than remember it.
We plan on being active, though, of like doing the walks and stuff like that, and staying active and trying to help out families that are going through this. Because when we first found out, there was people that were going through this, that been through this, and they helped us along. So we went and sort of pass on the same thing, as even just little things of like when we go back to rescans and there's a kid going in and just saying it's going to be all right. Look at her, like it's going to be all right. Like she'll get through it, or he'll get through it. Like just little things like that. So
yeah. No, I just it's a thing that kind of just moves you to tears. I don't know how many times Laura and I would just randomly see a post and have to like shut it off real quick, because they're like, holy crap, I can't even imagine. Our kid just had a fever for XYZ, but he's gonna be better in 2 or 3 days.
And that's the crazy thing, is like we just got her port out last week, and
the portacath is that little thing that she gets chemo that's implanted in her chest,
instead of having to do the arm every time, or do more risk doing it the other way, or there's old way. But now the port's the better way to do it. But anytime she would get a fever, we'd have to go downtown. So, I mean, realistically, we were going, probably about 6 to 8 times a month. Just randomly downtown. And that's by the time they get us in there and everything figured out, it's usually about a 4 to 6 hour process.
Yep.
And even longer at times. So, add that on top of, what's already going on with chemo and stuff like that. So,
gosh, when she gets like normal sick, you guys are gonna be, I got this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just, Oh man.
So now that we got the port out, we don't have to worry about fever. So that's a big thing. Yeah. So we're really excited about that too.
Awesome. That's great. And then also Adam's kid Grayson, they'll be able to play a lot more than they probably did before. Which is good.
We don't have to worry about like, hey, is he sick? Any sniffles for the past week or two, or anything going on? Like you don't have to do the rundown sheet of like what's going on with their child, or anybody's child. So that's really awesome. Now we can just be normal and hey, come over, bring your kid over, let's play.
Oh man, awesome. Yeah, well, really happy for you.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and it's great. It's been a year almost exactly. So, all right. Well, an anniversary that I think now is obviously a happy one, because now that anniversary is when she got better, not when she got diagnosed. So that's great. But anyway, so listeners, continue to send out your shouts for anything that you might need to, any kind of shout outs that you have as well. But we appreciate your support, all the video game community that was out and about. That was
Missouri Game Con. Those people helped out. We pay for our booth, but they set up the.
I think
no, they did it pro bono. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, when Adam and I were putting it together, by the time we were everything, they kind of just said,
they gave us an amazing spot. They gave us, just help us out.
They let us run the Star Fox tournament to do all the.
They didn't have to do any of that, and I just really want to say thank you so much. Yeah. And I didn't have anything to do with that, so that's why I'm sort of oblivious to what went on exactly. I was able to show up one day to the con, but
which is great.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it was nice just to be able to get there, just to get my mind off of things. But I just thank you so much for that. I mean,
Jake
it really did help us out.
And Chris and all those guys, they're getting something pretty nice. I guess spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler?
I'm gonna cater a little bit of some of the best barbecue in the world and bring that over to them. I'm gonna bring some KC Joe's, enough to feed their entire fleet. I thought was a good way, because they've got their toasted ravioli, and they do have some good whatever it's called. They've got this
Emo's pizza.
No, don't even talk about Emo's. That's not good pizza. That's cardboard box with pepperoni on it.
They have this stuff that's like a custard that's really good. I forget what it's called. Ted Drew's is very very
that is good ice cream.
But we can show them some love of some world class barbecue that I think would I think that whatever we can do to pay him back.
That's the least we could do, or at least I could do. So.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So but anyway, that deserved its own little segment. Lexi, listen to this 20 years from now, making your dad embarrassing you at your wedding, talking about this. So happy for you, feeling better, and so happy for Shane and his family. All right. Well, the next little spot I think we were going to talk about is our game conventions. Since we kind of alluded to that in that previous little segment. There's 2 of them that we're all going to be going to. Let's talk about Missouri Game Con.
Yes.
The date on that, I guess, not really. Do we know it off the top? Well, the date we could say.
Yes.
It's early August.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm actually not going to be able to go.
Yeah.
I guess I'll kind of
breaking news.
Drop this. Sure. But my wife is pregnant. We're expecting actually.
Sweet.
Congrats.
I don't want to say unfortunately, but
is that what you said?
I was trying to think of something to say how to say this, but I guess the only word is unfortunately. I'm not going to be able to make it to the Missouri Game Con because she's actually due like 2 days after when it's planned.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to pass on that one.
Yep, that's a smart move. Smart move.
Yeah, I mean it's not that far away, but I can't, there's no risk in that. So.
You wouldn't be a video game dad. You'd be a video games like
deadbeat dad.
Video game deadbeat dad of the week.
Video game bastard.
We'd have to open up a new segment for you.
He went to a video game convention while she was on there.
You're like finishing a transaction. Yeah. What? How much is she dilated?
What? Okay, I'm heading home. I'll be there in 4 hours, hon.
It's 3. Yeah,
3. That's nothing.
I won't ever leave. If you guys know the story of my birth, with me leaving to like whatever, I got my wife some. I don't know what I did. And then,
and
then like the flat tire that was busted, then no good spare, and all that. Don't ever leave.
I just would have left my car. Running.
I almost started jogging. Yeah. Well, didn't I end up? I ended up taking an Uber back, or I don't know what.
Yeah,
I did,
you did. Yeah, you took an Uber after the guy got there. Yep.
Oh, but anyway, yeah, Michael. So congrats. Are you doing the figuring out boy or girl? Yeah.
For the first one, I really wanted to find out for really both of them. Yeah. And my wife let me find out for the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, we'll go with her and we're
not going
to find out until it's born. I know. I prefer to find out. It's really hard for me to sit in that room and with the nurses, and every time they ask you when they're doing the sonogram, like, do you want to know if it's a boy or girl?
Yes.
And inside I'm like, yes. And then she like, doing the scan. And then she always tells you to look away, and it's like even worse. It's
that'd be tough.
So we're gonna hold out till the end. So I guess we're gonna have to pick 4 names.
Yep.
4 names.
What?
Yeah. 4 names, 2 names. Yeah.
Well, I was like, well, you can.
Sorry.
Are you like part alien or something? Is there another sex we don't know about?
Maybe you might need 4.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. You just jinxed yourself. You might have some doubles.
Might have a
in
hermaphrodite.
There. No. I just meant more multiples or whatever. But
we're only having 1.
Yeah. Would they tell you that if you had twins though? Like,
they let you know. That's like the first thing they told me.
Because then it turns into a high risk pregnancy.
That's what I thought. Okay, I was like, they got to tell you.
Yeah, especially if it's
obviously I didn't have twins.
Yeah, or if it's got horns or something, they got to tell you that too, right?
Yeah, so we're excited for the second one, but unfortunately, I'm going to miss the Missouri Game Con.
Yeah.
There is one coming up a couple months later, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and I think that's in October.
I think we're all going to make it to this one this year. We've gone before in the past. Me and Benjamin have.
Yeah, we went with my buddy Turok.
Yes, Turok. Yeah, is he going to try to come this year? Or this time?
I don't think he's going to be able to make it this year because he's going through grad school, that program I went to. So he's not going to make it. He's in a kind of program where you just can't take any time off. But Shane and I went 2 years ago, which doesn't seem like that long ago. And we said we wanted to go back in 2 years, and shoot, we're going to do it.
We're actually going to do it.
The only thing that bites this year, as you guys have seen, are the tickets to the con are not bad, especially the whole weekend. Isn't it like $30, $35?
I didn't even
Tops
look it up.
50,
I think it's, which is crazy.
I forgot.
Yeah, which is great. But it's the price of the airfare.
Yes.
Hotel's not bad.
Hotel's not bad. Hotel's not
it's
bad.
about
Especially
the same.
split it with 3 ways.
Yeah.
We're going to be good. We're
It's
doing
about
like
the same
college
as
kid
last-
style.
yeah,
We're not getting our own personal rooms or anything.
No, and plus one of the beds is one of them is like a sofa bed, so there you get that. So yeah.
Huh.
So it'll fit 3 guys comfortably.
Yeah.
Nice.
We might try to tack on another 1 or 2. We need to cut this thing down a little bit more. Well, the flights going in suck, and then
that's just it.
That's the worst part.
The flights. So last time we went, there was direct flights.
Yes.
And it was like
Perfect
Southwest,
timing.
and it total I want to say was like maybe $300 at most. And like here, it's looking like $500-$600, and nothing is direct either way, and everything's got like a 7-8 hour total trip time with a layover.
Yep.
Like and they're going to stupid places. One place is going to St. Louis and then going to Portland, which I hate that.
Yes.
But anyway, I looked through the other airlines. And I couldn't find it. It looks like Southwest might be the cheapest.
The way to go.
Yeah, because the other ones aren't much cheaper.
I'm such a
because then
lazy
you add
person.
on
Ben handles all the arrangements. He's like the wife of the couple.
I know. Well, I look for deals. I mean, that's one thing I do. I spent a lot of time. I did that when my wife and I got our little destination wedding. I like researched the heck out of it. But I feel like when you're doing a trip and you're leaving your home, I've had too many things go wrong where you go and you don't do enough. You just wing it. You're like, hey, I'm going to go to this state and assume I'm going to have a great time. And
I've always been so lucky. I've always had my wife or had my parent or somebody always just guiding my hand, holding my hand like a little child. So
yeah, no, I'm just that guy in with my wife to do that too. I mean, actually, I'm trying to think. She'll do the scheduling and I'll do the pricing and stuff. So we'll do a little tit for tat there. But I'm just the guy that does it. But I'm not finding anything. I'm just hoping another plane shows up out of nowhere. That's a direct flight because we don't have any more direct flights there anymore. I'm like, are you freaking kidding?
Crazy.
I hate changing planes. So I digress. Anyway, so but either way, we're gonna go. It'll be great.
It's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're still
the
gonna
best con you could go to,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I haven't been to a ton, but that's to me the mecca. I mean, that's the one.
Yeah, I've only been to much smaller ones.
Yeah, you are gonna love it.
Yeah, so I mean, we've talked about before in our first, I think episode 2 was when we really talked about it.
Yeah.
But really, what's great about it is it's got that arcade. That's that like almost 24-hour
I'm gonna take more
arcade.
advantage of that.
A free play arcade.
Yeah,
A free play arcade, but the size of the free play arcade is bigger than like even that arena we went to, like like Kemper Arena or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's that's going the whole time. But then all the booths, there are so many booths that
There's
even we were there like 8 hours a day for 2 straight.
Not 2-pack because it's a little bit spread out.
Not
It's
2-pack,
nice.
Shakur,
Yeah.
It's just not 2-pack. Not 2-packed. Yeah. But
But yeah, man. I mean, there's just some crazy stuff there. Like I've seen boxes of Earthbound. Now I'm not talking like box with the game. I'm talking unfolded slabs of Earthbound.
Collector gold.
Great. Yeah. Just like, and there was like Miracle Piano box unfolded. Like, it's just
How do you
amazing.
find
And there's
that?
a guy with like boxes of games that just were not folded up. It's just amazing. Like that's even there.
And
I was sort of weirded out by it. I was like, I don't know if these are fake or real. It ended up they're real, and you selling them for a good price. I wish I would have jumped on it and just boxed all my games and called it a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the panels, there's a lot of those.
Good panels, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of panels there. I'm trying to think what else. There was
a little museum. Yeah, that cosplay.
Yeah.
There's
the
a little
museum.
We didn't even go to the museum.
I know. I didn't realize it existed. Yeah, that was John Hancock. I think. Well, he's part of the guys that run that. He's got a huge collection. So, but I didn't even. Yeah,
we went there the last 30 minutes when they were tearing.
They were tearing it all down. We're like, crap. Let's take pictures of everything. The Nintendo PlayStation, which is funny. Like every con I've been to, I've now seen it. Yeah, seen the
SMZ passed around.
Oh, and that'll be fun. To see our buddy there. He was at I hope he's there.
He might.
Yeah,
maybe.
we'll see. I'll have to check. I'll check.
Maybe it's not the hot ticket item anymore. I don't know.
No, I think it'll always be.
Yeah, but and then did they announce any of the people that are going to be there for Pan? I don't think they've done that yet. I think they usually wait a little bit. Yeah.
No, I think no. They announce them pretty early because they got to book them. I think everything's there. All the I mean, I don't watch every single YouTuber. Like there's other, like nothing, like Pro Jared. I don't know that guy. I know I've heard of the Completionists and things like that. I think it's all the staples. But what's neat is they also bring in guys from the industry who, hopefully Brett Weiss is there. That'd be fun to see him again.
If he's there, yeah.
Our Mr. Do special extraordinaire, Brett Weiss. Listen back episode, I don't know, 6 episodes ago, 7 or 8 episodes ago. We did a nice little interview Adam did with him. It's great interview.
Yep.
Hope to have another 1 or 2 coming up. And I think
hopefully we could book some more. I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Trying to help you guys out.
Yeah.
And you start pulling my weight here.
Yeah. No. It's, but we listen to our feedback, and it's funny, like, most people are like, I don't know why. They'd rather listen to us than listen to interviews, but that's fine. We stick them to the end because I love that. I love that part of it. And I think there's enough people out there that really appreciate it. We just tack them onto the end of the interviews, which I think is a good way to do it. That way, if you just want to listen to us or just want to listen to them, you know how to get to it and just skip ahead through our dumb banter.
Yep.
But
you know what I'm sort of excited for, the con? Is we all have Nintendo Switches, so if we could do like a big Bomberman in the room, drink a bunch of beer, and kick it old school, man.
That was something that didn't work. Okay, so one improvement we could do from last time was last time Chris Turek was funny because he's less of a my buddy is less of a crazy collector like us and more like an average guy that likes video games, right?
Yep.
Which is the more normal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'll bring my 360, and we're like, okay.
Which I was down to play, and we did play it, but then there was a few games that wouldn't go because they had to go over the internet. It was just weird.
None of the games worked. Gotcha. So the big problem with it was like it needs a connection to the internet in order to run the games, which I don't own a 360, and boy, that just proved why I don't ever own that dumb thing.
Yeah,
like,
I had a buddy who was in the Navy actually, and when he would go on those ships, he wouldn't get internet connection for a while, and it really pissed him off. And there was like a bunch of games he couldn't play, and they were like he wanted to just play the campaign mode, right?
Yeah.
Like not even like online features, but it just wouldn't like load
Wouldn't
up.
go. You got to get it all preloaded before. The
it's really annoying.
Stuff. Yep.
Yeah, luckily not everything's like that because most games, like even the newer stuff, you don't run into that. It's just some weird, I think, 360
It was a weird 360 thing they had going for a little bit.
Yeah, so that'd be fun.
See, I'm not into cosplaying like myself, but I do enjoy at the conventions, like seeing other people. I'm like kind of a peeping Tom in that way. I don't like to join, but I was like, I just like to see all the cosplayers going around. Getting pictures with them, and
there's some pretty cool. I mean, there is some pretty cool costumes there too. There's pretty good people there.
Yeah, some people go all out.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, so those will be the cons we go to. We'll probably bring it up every time until these cons happen to try to help promote them. But definitely the Missouri Game Con, which happens in St. Louis, that will be 1 day instead of 2 this year. They're kind of condensing everything, which will be a lot of fun, which will be easier for people to kind of travel and see and get back home on the weekend and that kind of thing. But I've been there, so this will be their 3rd year. I've been both years before, and they've grown obviously every year. So it's a great con, and it's great to have something in the Midwest.
Yes,
because you people on the coast. Do you ever see the people up in Washington, Seattle? They're all our friends, but those collectors and those
so spoiled
guys
up there.
Yeah, they're just always kind of like,
I don't know if I want to go this week.
Every month, they
have another con.
Yeah, we get one.
They're small swap ones, and I think they know they're lucky, but you know what I mean. It's just like anything.
We would be the same way too. We're like, I don't know if I'm gonna go this weekend. I just have to go 20 minutes away from my house.
Yeah, we're all like punching each other in the face for another episode of Sports Talk, Joe Montana football. It's mine. It's like Waterworld over here. We're just all scavenging.
Yes.
Eye patches and grow gills. Anyway, so those are gonna be our cons. I think though, it's time to move on to our most popular segment.
Yes.
We like to call it
the Video Game Book Club of the Month.
Where's
Is that dramatic enough?
Yeah, or of the bye week.
Of the bye week.
Although lately it's been the month.
Yeah, lately it's been the month.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, let's get started with our Video Game Book Club.
We got OJ, purple stuff, soda, Sunny Day.
Yeah, go for it.
Tastes like orange and tangerine.
And lime.
Some healthy junk, too.
Instant replay.
Sunny Delight. The good stuff kids go for.
All right, and our Video Game Book Club This episode was brought to you by Sunny D. Yeah. The stuff that tears up your throat when you drink it.
Yeah, don't have a cold and drink that.
5% fruit juice or less, probably, right?
I'd say less.
Yeah,
5%.
Remember, hey,
it's orange something.
OJ, purple stuff, soda. Hey, grab the Sunny D. The best part is when we were looking back at that commercial was the it's got some healthy junk or whatever. Like it was just the kids are so like stereotypical teenagers. It just kills you. And the mom's like, oh well, they like me. They said thanks for this great drink, but it's super not healthy. And that's the whole thing. Like back in the 80s when no one really cared about that stuff. It's like, oh, it looks better for you than Tang. And Tang is a powder you used to give to astronauts. So
that's right.
I don't know. Yeah, Sunny D sounds great. But seriously, if kids chug their drinks because you come in from playing outside and you come in and you chug Sunny D. Yeah. It's like seriously, like just the scrapey part of popcorn.
Yes.
And put that into a drink.
Well, like even it's like what are the pouch drinks that we used to drink back
Capri
in the
Sun.
Capri Suns. I would drink those just in all one drink. Just go to town on it.
See, I love those.
Yeah, those are good, man.
Yeah.
I like Sunny D though, but it was
You like Sunny D?
Yeah, I like Sunny
D.
They
used to change the flavor. I remember they started to get other flavors.
Yeah, like citrus.
They had a purple one, which is funny because they say purple stuff. They had a purple Sunny D at one point. Mark my words. I'm sure it's hard to find.
Is Sunny D still out right now?
Oh, yeah.
I passed that thing up quick.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's as popular as it once was.
No.
Because everybody realized, like...
I used to like... You know what I used to like? Five Alive. Do you guys remember that?
I do remember.
I don't remember that.
Oh, Five Alive. I used to love the box for it. It was always like dark blue and you had it was basically kind of like a Sunny D except not as like... It tasted better. I don't know. A better tasting Sunny D. Yeah, okay. But it was like still the same thing where it was a whole lot of junk and sugar and stuff. Yeah. But anyway... but thanks, are they still? Who asked? Are they still making it? Of course they're making it. They're our sponsor.
Yeah, they're sponsored. Yeah, because they're going strong.
Yeah,
giving us all those millions for this advertisement. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we're running through these old advertisements. We might have trouble finding more sponsors if we run out of ideas.
We have to recycle them.
Yeah, but those new to us, our Video Game Book Club is a segment where each episode we pick a game that might be overlooked, misunderstood, most likely not in the top 15% of whatever system library you're on. We're currently on the Nintendo 64. And then we play it in between episodes and discuss it much like a book club. We encourage our listeners to submit suggestions for a Video Game Book Club. For us to discuss. You don't have to currently stick with whatever console we are currently on. It could be a handheld, whatever. Just include a little spiel about it. That's all we ask. If you submit a game, please submit a game and reason why you like to add it, like us to use it and add it to our pool, and then we will randomly pick one for each episode, and then have it be picked along with our Video Game Dad pick, which we're kind of going around round robin. I will say, we kind of forgot to say, if you need to email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com.
Yep.
Our Twitter is @videogamedads, Instagram @videogamedads, and Adam got a YouTube started, so if you like the YouTubes, hop onto there, Video Game Dads podcast as well.
Yeah.
And then iTunes, please send us a little iTunes
reviews.
We'll talk about reviews here at the end of the show. And then a couple other segments that we're going to go through as well. I guess I already missed the point of like talking about our segments. You'll just have to find out or read our synopsis, but we got great things in store for you guys right now. But please, send us an email, questions, comments, anything you want us to talk about on the show.
Your recent pickups, I'd enjoy that. Yeah, if you want to send those, I'd check it out.
Yeah, let us know. But anyway, so last time our listener pick, we'll go with that one first. That one was a Genesis.
No,
it was nice after so many NES picks over and over and over. We got a Sega Genesis game, Splatterhouse 2. Right?
Yes, very good game.
Yeah, Splatterhouse 2. So we all played this one. Let's see. I brought up kind of some old school spiel about it as far as like when it came out. I'm pretty sure it came out in 1992. Does that sound right? Yeah, it was. Yeah,
pretty early.
Yeah, August of 1992. Obviously, the sequel. How many games did they make for the Splatterhouse?
2.
3.
They made
3. You mean in the future? Just for the Genesis, I know there was 2.
For Genesis, now there's 3. Well, there was 2. It's 2 and 3. Not technically 1, but they made 2 for the Genesis. Then they made 1 for PS3 and then Xbox 360.
Okay,
and then 1 on on Famicom.
And I heard that also, like, they made a 2010 version of it for like PlayStation 3 and 360, just called Splatterhouse.
Yes.
And then I heard there was an unlockable extra that you could like
get
the game. But like, did you ever play that to know if that was true?
I didn't.
Because I then heard it was like only like a DLC or something like that. I'm not sure. So any listeners that know, because I own that game, I should check it out, I guess. But
I think there's a way to unlock it, but I just nenever played the game because it didn't look the greatest.
Yeah, so it's basically a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Side-scrolling like horror-themed beat 'em up.
Very arcade beat 'em up. Yeah, too, I'd say there's no like deep leveling up or anything like that. It's just very wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I'd say the biggest pull on this game is the intense violence, especially for back then.
the dark themes. So
your kind of main character looks like Jason.
Yeah, I always think of Jason.
So any of you guys play these when you were younger?
Yes,
I did not.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was always on the hunt for the third one. And
Shane, you did?
Yeah. I was always on the hunt, me and my buddy, and then I found the third one loose at vintage stock like when I was 18 or something, and I gave it to my buddy for his Christmas present.
Nice.
Down with a pile of Sega Genesis games, and now I want that back. Julius, I know you're listening. I want it back.
So I never played how'd you like it as a kid?
I liked it. It was
did?
fun. I liked just games that I could play and sort of get to a level and stop, and then sort of work my way back to that, and then work a little bit more. Or if it had a
password save
system, then work it that way. Those were always my favorites because I wasn't about grinding at all.
And passwords were hard because you couldn't take a picture of it with your phone.
Yeah,
that's true.
You always had to write them down, and then sometimes your chicken scratch.
I used to write them on the manuals.
Oh yeah,
that's what I would do. Right on the
so
back
you
of
used
manuals.
the notes section.
No section or just the back. I mean, some of them didn't have notes in them. They just were just like a regular manual. But even on NES games, like those manuals, I would just always write on the back of them.
Gotcha. All right, so you're the one that caught. Now it's not a Gem Mint 10.
Exactly. I never thought about that stuff back then.
No, as you shouldn't have.
Yeah. It just seemed convenient because it was with the game, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of, so you've played it before. I haven't. Michael has not.
Did you play it as a kid?
No, not as a kid.
Okay. Not as a kid.
First time I played it was in college, back when I had my Dreamcast and I had a NES Genesis emulator. So then I saw this game called Splatterhouse, and after never seeing it as a kid before, I just thought, oh, what the heck game is this?
Yeah.
I plugged it in, and I don't know which. It was the one where the intro was a little bit more cinematic. Did they have a Splatterhouse for like Sega CD or something?
Nope.
Splatterhouse. What are all the systems it was on?
Just TurboGrafx.
Mega Drive,
Nintendo. Well, not Nintendo. Famicom.
Okay.
Genesis.
I might have just played the first one because anyway, it was pretty adult themed and mature themed and way more violent than anything, and I was totally hooked.
And there was an arcade game also.
Yeah.
So it was arcade based first. So
yeah. So I mean, I never played it growing up, but I have my thoughts about this game. But I guess we'll let's see, Michael. We'll just say, what did you think about Splatterhouse 2?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought like the mechanics on it were pretty tight.
Yeah.
Like hit detection, which can be a problem, like on beat 'em ups, was really good. Probably like my favorite part about the game overall was like picking up objects like the bats or the I don't know if it's like a 2x4 or whatever, and then like smashing them against the wall. Yeah,
it is a pretty, the visceral feel of hitting someone. They do pretty well.
It was kind of like in like the Turtles in Time when you take a guy and throw him at the screen, kind of that kind of same feel where it kind of just felt a little more interactive than like just hitting him and then all of a sudden he kind of just like disappears. So they kind of like stick on the wall.
Yeah, this is that thud, man. It's just really, I don't know, I can't explain that. It's just a really weird thing, but some games capture that and this game does that.
Yeah. So like those aspects of it, and it did give you a nice like environment and feel, kind of creepy, blood going down the walls and stuff like that.
And this was normally Adam says this stuff, it's a Namco game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely arcade then.
Yeah, the set it starts right where the first one ended, right? Kind of the story.
It's weird. I mean, I think so, but 2 and 3 go the same, but I'm not for sure on the Famicom to 2. I don't know for sure, but we'll just roll with it. Yeah.
I mean, I will say this: the game is hard as balls.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. If you learn the patterns, though, it's not that bad. But learning those patterns and keep doing it, then it's. I
think the first level is okay. Like first part of the level, because each level, would you say? I think it's about 3-4 minutes long. Like you just kind of run through it.
Yep.
I ended up using cheat codes, and I got like an extra 150. That's how I played the whole game, and I beat it. Yeah. But if I didn't have cheat codes, I wouldn't have gotten past that dang elevator level.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah,
that
the second level,
cheap as heck.
See it took me a while to figure out what to exactly do. And as those guys fall down on the sides, you have to spam. Like I figured out to spam one of the guys.
Yep. And let the other one just run off the screen, fly off the screen.
And luckily on that second level, once you get past that elevator, and if you die like right after you get out of the elevator, you're done with the elevator section. Like it's over, and it lets you because if it wouldn't I was worried about that because I knew I was only going to make it like with a little bit of life left, and finally with the continue it passed me, put me past it, so that was nice.
Going back into playing this now, it sort of reminds me like some of the bosses of almost like a Cuphead in a way. Is like the bosses is they're all different, but when you figure out that pattern, you're on point. I mean, not guaranteed you're going to win, but you got a good way of going about it.
That's just it. If can you get past patterns now when we're older guys, we've got kids. Man, like going like I remember I had patterns for specific video games for the Super Nintendo, the X-Men. I forget what the heck it's called. A specific X-Men game, but like I knew it down pat. I knew where the guys were coming from the left or the right, and I just remembered it. But like doing that again now, all I do is just like, well, this game's cheap as heck. Throw my controller.
That's
why I love cheat codes. Thank God.
A lot of it you want to fly through it, but then some of the enemies, geez, I can't talk. You want to spend some time with them and sort of wait for them to do their move and then attack them. You want to just fly through it because some stages allow you to do that, and then some of them, nope, you need to wait for them to do their move.
Yeah.
So, I think that's
just jump over them or something.
Yeah, just jump over. You don't have to hit everything. You don't have to kill everybody.
Yeah, because some guys like fly past you, and I figured that out that you don't really have to kill everything.
Yeah, because the ones with the arms that came out at you,
yep,
those ones
exactly.
you
have to hit them twice too.
Yeah, you have to hit them twice too. So you want to take your time with them. But then it's funny, the next level, you're jumping across like these little what is it? Pond or little water, and you'd actually hit them in there, and then they just die. So it's like a little different element. So that's sort of neat.
Yeah. I think I was like looking through some reviews too about this game, and something that happens now with like modern game reviewers when they review old stuff, it just doesn't go well.
Yeah.
See Star Fox 2, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted Star Fox 2 to come out, and then when it came out, everybody was reviewing it like a modern game, and I wanted to freaking tombstone everybody. Like, are you guys serious? Like, you guys are professional review. I don't ever talk crap. I think we're amateurs. They're professionals.
You should be able to put yourself back in that old situation.
Or just time and place.
Limits of the hardware.
Time and place.
Yes.
Like right now, yes. Splatterhouse is pretty repetitive, and the violence is nothing compared to what we get now, right?
Yeah.
This is Grand Theft Auto. We live in a world with like, this is past torture porn movies and stuff like that. Like this is nothing
with like a million side missions on top of the missions that you regularly
but
normally.
I even played this during the like early PS2 era, and this was still pretty significant back then.
The detail is really great because I played like newer beat 'em ups now, or try to if I see them. Just the detail on this is great. I mean, when they're smacking against the wall, like you don't get that with beat 'em ups now. This is really cheesy and cutthroat.
Yeah, the main guy, it's a pretty big sprite too for all the characters.
The graphics are really good, man.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. He does. He's pretty meaty. So for size wise, like people should play Streets of Rage 2, right? That's one of the big pinnacles. That and Double Dragon for beat 'em ups. But the plane is bigger on both those. I will say with Splatterhouse, it's pretty much left to right. Right.
Yeah,
so it's very 2D. There isn't a quasi 2.5D plane that you can walk up and down, which is good because then you run into the problem of, am I on the plane where I could hit him or he can hit me? All like Ninja
and you're
Turtles,
playing that game of like trying to just go down a little bit
enough.
and then hit him enough, just enough,
which is super realistic. Not at all. Yeah.
That sort of annoys me on some beat 'em ups, but I mean it makes sense, but I don't like it on every single
and then when it's wrong, it's frustrating because some beat 'em ups, when they do that, it's like, well, how come the enemy can hit me and I can't hit him? That part bites. But there's some good ones out there. Also, there's so many like beat 'em up gems that no one's ever heard of that like are old arcade ones, like Cadillacs versus Dinosaurs and
Growl.
What's that?
Growl's awesome. That's another Sega Genesis one.
I don't know Growl.
Yeah, I really like this one called Two Crude Dudes.
Two Crude Dudes is good.
I really enjoy
a lot
that
better
one.
than the NES version, Two Bad Dudes.
Two Bad
that's
Dudes.
true.
Yeah, it's a great name though. You can't beat that name.
Which I don't mind that game, Bithead. Yeah, I'm talking to you, buddy.
Oh, does he not like that game?
He doesn't like the NES version. It is a step down from the arcade for sure.
Well, it's hard to do a beat 'em up when you got the flickeriness of the NES and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I just look at it as a different game.
Yeah. Splatterhouse 2. How far did you guys get? Since I use cheat codes, I beat it. I will tell you this: the last boss, holy crap! Even with cheat codes, was tough.
I got to level 3.
That's where I got.
I got to 3, and then kids started crying, and then
I beat one pretty quick. It took me like 20 minutes to beat the first level, and then it took me about like 45 to an hour to beat the second level.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took me a while because I had to figure out the elevator moves, and then the whole green guys with the punching.
I beat the whole thing in like 2 hours, 2.5. So when you go through it knowing you can just keep going. I just wanted to see it at this point. I said, whatever. But it's good, and you're fighting through a mansion. You basically are. The progression of the levels are you're outside the mansion, you get close to the mansion, you get inside the mansion, and then you leave the mansion a la like Resident Evil 4 where you're getting on a boat. Yeah. So maybe, Resident Evil 4 actually, if you think about it, took a lot of it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's just, it's coincidence.
The power-ups are sweet on this game too. Is like you get a shotgun, you get a 2x4.
2x4, yeah.
The bone one's really awesome because he sort of comes down on him, so he smashes him to the ground more, which is really, like I said, that's detail that you don't get on even games nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, each weapon handles different. I enjoy that. Really,
it's real good. But let's talk about the thing about this game that's not so good: the price.
Yes.
It is a bit pricey.
So what's the price, Michael?
I think loose is going for around $70 right now, and then complete around like $140, $150. So it is.
I luckily have it boxed.
Yeah. So hopefully, if you do,
and I just recently picked it up like 2 years ago, so I got really lucky. I don't have the manual, but I'm still happy to just have the box. And it's so weird. The box almost looks like a rental case in a way.
It does. Yeah, it looks a little off.
Yeah,
it's off center.
Because I thought mine was just a rental case. I was like, oh, this is stinks, but I still take it because this game rocks. But then it's actually it looks. Are there
any games that look like this? Because it's got this weird kind of blue. It's Splatterhouse. It's got this weird kind of blue splatter effect around the side, but it looks like a generic thing. But is that the only game?
There's a few that do that. Like
probably Namco. It's a Namco thing.
Yeah, a little bit more Namco thing. But there's other companies that do it too. Not a ton, but
interesting. Yeah, I don't know Genesis enough to know. Like, obviously, loved it. I think neighbor kid had the Genesis, but again, it was just like me having one because I went to his house like every day. Yeah. But yeah, a little pricey overall for what it is and what it does. I think it's a good game. It's an interesting game.
I mean, if you could find a repro card of it, this is one of those deals that games are really to me expensive. Is if you want to spend $20 to $30 on a repro,
go on Etsy or something like that.
Do it on that kind of occasion, not a game that's only $10 and you're going to pay $10 for it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's check out the back of the box, shall we? Since I have it in front of me, I like the back right at the top. It begins again. It has a couple cutout pictures. Smashing good time, killer knockout punches, bone crushing action. Your girlfriend Jennifer, aren't they always named Jennifer?
Yeah, that's generic.
So if you're
sorry, I'm trying to do lightning sound effects for when you're reading this. So
okay.
Maybe we could add those in. Maybe that would help.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so edit them. Yeah. Okay. Edit it every time. It's like
creaks. And
stuff. You said that. That's another hour.
That'd be awesome.
That's another hour of me in a room where my wife's yelling at you. When are you gonna be done editing? Yeah, no, just
add
kidding.
these sound effects, and Shane told me to do.
Yeah. Your girlfriend Jennifer is trapped. What I was gonna say was like if you're a guy out there and you're going on a date and you see her name's Jennifer, maybe you steer clear.
Yeah, you might want to. You have to save her something.
She's trapped in a living nightmare, and it's up to you to save her. The only option is to don the terror mask. That's right. The terror mask is the thing that it's kind of like
his head. Yeah, it almost looks like Friday the 13th.
And it's like Jim Carrey style. That's the thing that gives him his powers.
He gets all steroided out.
Yeah. Well, he says to transform into a buffed out mayhem machine. Well, that's what he is. Yeah. So he's the Rock.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna see that Rampage?
Looks sort of fun. I'll
probably rent it.
I'll rent it.
But
it's getting good
fun.
reviews. I heard good things about that new Jumanji too. Even though I thought I thought it was going to be bad, but people
trash.
I thought it was okay.
You thought it was bad?
I think it looks trash. I don't know.
I thought it was
okay.
I really liked the first one, so it might have been little rose-colored glasses.
No, I mean, I looked at reviews, and a bunch of them said like pleasantly surprised. It was actually good.
Yeah, I'd recommend it actually, and you could actually watch it with your family too.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be like just seeing the beginning. They're like, it's a video game system and all this, but I've been surprised before on some movies where you think you're going to be crap. I did end up seeing that Ready Player One.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I missed the ending though.
We all saw. You what?
I missed the ending though.
Oh,
Lexi
really?
wanted to go. We had a date night, and then Lexi wanted to really come with us, so we brought her, and she
ran out of gas.
Yeah, she ran out of gas. She was just like, I'm ready.
I will say that movie probably not good for little kids because I noticed it too when I went. There was a couple little like right at the end. There's this kid that yelled out, "Oh, I'm glad it's over. That movie was boring," and everybody laughed. I was like, I just wasn't meant for you. I will say it wasn't really meant for me either. I think that target audience would have been great for us when we were younger. Probably it's more for like 10-year-old, 9 to maybe 16, 17 kind of year old kid. It was good. It had some boy, those chase scenes. Spielberg knows how to do a freaking chase scene, and the story behind it of, you're in this oasis of this virtual reality and you need to find keys in order to take ownership of it is cool. But I just thought there were some parts that dragged on a little bit. Although that freaking Kubrick part, whoa. That was good.
Yeah. Yep.
That was freaking good. That was really good.
Yeah, I like seeing all the Easter eggs and stuff. Just seeing all the different people popping up in there, especially that beginning chase scene. I was like, that's cool.
That beginning chase scene was great, but that part where they redid that movie scene, oh man, that was like some of the best. It's worth seeing. I will say I'll recommend it just for that. For like 2 amazing scenes were enough to make me say, yeah, you should watch that movie. But it's pretty typical movie fare. Definitely you could wait for it, but it's worth a rental. It's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, shoot, what the heck were we talking about?
Splatterhouse.
Yeah.
Box.
I'm buffed out mayhem machine, ready to smash and bash into freedom. Utilize every weapon from the gnarled fist to a roaring chainsaw. It's hard word to say, roaring.
Yeah.
To conquer legions of oozing zombies and ghastly ghouls. With skill, you may last long enough to confront horrible bosses. An iron will and a strong stomach are mandatory. I like that. Then it has a few like eye-popping boss encounters. 8 megs. Yes, 8 megs of gruesome graphics. Yes.
They push those 8 megs to the limit too.
Wicked weapons and 8 levels to explore the depths of horror. That's a tough one to say, but yeah. So that was good. I'd say that back of the box is pretty.
That was good.
Yeah, pretty. You know what you're getting.
Acknowledge his buffness. I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it sold itself well. So Splatterhouse 2, pick it up if you can. We recommend it for what it is. Just I don't know. I expect to get your butt handed to you. I would
save up your nickels and dimes, kiddos.
Yeah, exactly. So that was our listener pick. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our dad pick, since we're on to the Nintendo 64, everyone's favorite fog machine, as I like to call it. I picked a game that I remembered as a kid, and I thought
was... Oh, you played this as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool.
My buddy had it, or he rented it, so I never owned it. But I remember playing it a little bit, and I just was intrigued by it back then. And I know it's a game that, like, if you're a collector, you've heard of it, but for most part, people don't really know what it's about. It's called Space Station Silicon Valley. And this was by Take-Two Interactive, DMV, Take-Two Games, also known as...
Is it Rockstar?
Rockstar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Rockstar North.
Yeah,
North of all.
North.
Yeah. But yeah, this game came out in 1998. That was a great year, right?
Yes, awesome.
Oh yeah,
October of 1998.
Freshman year of high school.
The cover art is crazy. It looks like someone just randomly maybe did some acid before they were gonna like put a cover art together and I just slapped it all together. Like you don't really know what it's about. I guess in the front it says
that's about right.
In the year 2000, there are no petting zoos. Like seriously, that's it. That's the front quote on the front. And it's just I feel like this is a game that when it came out and it didn't I feel like this is a game that was like meant to be in the planning stages, but then wouldn't get released, and you hear about randomly in a not get released video, and that would be Space Station Zelda Comic. And then there'd be a prototype, and it'd be worth like $500,000, and everybody says how great the game is. And this. But this game actually came out, and it's quirky, and it's different, and it's weird. It's a platformer. It's a platform video game, but it's a platform puzzler. But the premise is quite interesting. I'll kind of go into it before we start talking about it, because it's really kind of hard to... It's even hard to describe. So it's a platform puzzler. And so what happened was, and I might even get this wrong because I've even me playing it. It's like the year 2000, or it's the year now. It's the year 2000, and
we're creeping on it pretty quick.
For whatever reason, they put a zoo in space, like this globe of a zoo that you can kind of like visit, a la Biodome or something.
It's like out of order.
So you shoot it out into space, but as soon as it gets shot out into space, they lose contact with it. It gets sucked into a wormhole or something like that, and then you don't hear from it. And then all of a sudden, it reappears 1,000 years later. But what happened is all the computer parts on the space station, that's this like zoo, kind of melds DNA with all the animals, so they evolve and keep knowing how do they like stay alive and all of a sudden. But they basically then kind of continue their evolution with like instead of evolving into greater animals, they just kind of evolve into being like part robot, but mainly animals, I guess. And then there's this robot. And what's the guy's name? Danger Dan, and a robot gets shot up there to like retrieve it or figure out what.
They're like
what
bounty hunters or something, and they're like they had the lowest bid, so they were able to go do it. It wasn't the highest bid. I think it was the lowest bid or something.
So again, this whole premise is just so dang weird and interesting, but it's just so different, right? And that's what you got. At the end of the day, different is going to be the word for this game. But again, it breaks monotony for sure, like in every possible way. So these guys go up and try to intercept with the space station, but they crash. And when they crash, the robot gets like destroyed. Except one, and Danger Dan is basically effed in the machine. He's gonna die, a la like upside down and leaking thing.
He's doing nothing.
So he's stuck.
Good job, Danger Dan.
Yeah, Danger Dan gets in trouble, and the robot bursts apart, except for one microchip. That like stays alive, and it can like, but if it's not attached to something, it dies, right? So it's got to
get latched.
So then here comes the gameplay mechanic and the gameplay hook. The little microchip can move around and attach to any of the animals and basically take them over, a la like a Syndicate and Kirby. Like Kirby or whatever.
That kind of a thing.
So like every animal you can hop into their like dead. Well, and actually what happens was there's a dog, and I think it was a chicken, wasn't it? It was a dog and
They had chickens.
But it was two animals they crash into. They almost killed the dog. Oh, was it a sheep? Yeah. It was a dog, I think, and a sheep were like about to like.
I think you get the dog first.
We're in love with each other, and the spaceship bashes into the dog.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Into the dog, and then you, as a microchip, you can jump into the dog, and then you do their ability. So every animal has like two different distinct abilities. Like the dog can bark and like herd things. Sheeps can jump and do whatever. And you go through, there's a lot of different animals in this thing.
Like
the mice
has like
that's
a bunch
the
of
biggest
speed.
ploy of this game is that there's so many different animals that you can do stuff with.
So then you're basically doing platform puzzle things by hopping into different
things. It's like a collectathon.
It is. And you're basically hopping into different animals to complete mission objectives. So
you
with
really
that,
have to use animals.
with that kind of long spiel out of the way, one thing though I will say this: the game, even though it's a 64 game, right? So it won't look bad. It does at least have some style going for it, don't you guys think? Like as far as like it's got a cartoony look. And it's like it wasn't going for ultra realistic. It wasn't going. It's a pretty colorful game. I mean, colorful. I'm not talking about graphic. I'm not talking about graphic detail. I'm saying like
I just wonder if somebody could draw a circle on this game, like because of the world and that opening scene. They didn't even draw a perfect circle. It's like what
you can't do a circle. It's all polygons in 64. Tell me a 64 that has circles in it.
I don't know. I'll find something.
Tetrasphere. I don't know. Tetrasphere, I guess, is a big old circle.
I'm negative Nancy on this one. So
no, we could start with whoever. Who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first on this one? Michael, do it.
I guess I can. Overall, I thought it was a good game. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was terrible. I kind of thought it was good. The things I kind of liked about it was like kind of what we were talking about, how you could kind of switch into different animals, and they all had different mechanics. I liked how like the mouse could fly around real fast, and you could kind of ramp up things and get to different levels, and how you could kind of take advantage of the different animals and all the aspects they can do. And overall, the puzzles, I think they weren't too difficult. I didn't probably play as long as some as you guys did. I only played like 6 or 7 levels, but it did ramp up. What's that?
So you got me beat.
Okay, well, it did ramp up difficulty a bit because at first, you're kind of just like herding sheep into a pen, and it's pretty simple. But it lets you get the mechanics down, and that was kind of nice. I know Shane had a little issues with some of the graphics.
Yeah.
And like camera angles. I didn't really have that on when I was playing. Maybe I got lucky, but
I will say something about that. I think I said in the last episode, this is a game where if you are not on the regular jumper pack and you're on the expansion pack, it has problems. It is notoriously.
See, I had the expansion, but mine was fine.
Okay,
I was using. I mean, in defense of the game, I'll give it this. I was using emulation, so I was at the mercy of the ROM, I guess. So
right,
gotcha.
Yeah.
What I was getting at was if you use an expansion pack, it's notoriously doesn't work well, and you get glitches and things like that. So most people have expansion pack, and if you see like an asterisk next to games that run with the expansion pack, you'll always see an asterisk and it say Space Station Silicon Valley. Usually you have a lot of weird glitches and problems and things. So Shane, you're saying it's on an emulator. I wonder if the emulator already has like the expansion pack into it, which might then make it hard to emulate.
Right.
But that being said, it's just something to watch out for. So that's a good reason why you keep your jumper pack.
Second, is that a pro tip?
Yeah, it is a pro tip.
A little bit.
I know. That's a pro.
I need some water.
I know. Semi-pro tip if we don't crack your voice.
Pro tip. I need some beer.
I got plenty of beer.
Next segment, I'm bringing it in. I'll crack it open for the fans. You'll hear it.
Yep. So anyway, just something to consider. Keep hold of your jumper pack. You can get them on eBay for like $1 because everybody doesn't value those things. But the N64 jumper pack, that's the thing that replaces the expansion pack. But anyway, sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Oh no, just overall, I thought it was a good game. It did have bright colors, kind of like what you're talking about. Graphical detail wasn't. There's definitely been better games.
Sure.
But it came out kind of early, I want to say. 98, isn't that pretty early for N64?
96, 97, yeah.
Okay, so a couple years after.
Yeah, mid.
Kind of mid. Yeah.
2001. Yeah, 64 was really a 4.5-year system because then you get 2001. Because then think that 99 was Dreamcast.
Expansion pack,
Yeah, and then you're
a bit later.
And then, but it didn't really utilize the expansion pack. Yeah. That's the thing that stinks about it, which it really should have. But then, 2001 was like Perfect Dark, and that's when it was on its way out. So I mean, I just 64 wasn't a great looking system.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking on this too? Like maybe could have used maybe like a 2-player mode where you could have had like kind of battles like on time, like doing it for the quickest time and stuff like that. Kind of add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, or at least helping you finish the objective faster.
Or you could do that like 2 people doing it. Yeah, that would be kind of cool too.
This, right? I mean, there's a ton of stages.
There are, yeah. So, like, the first part starts out kind of like in a British countryside, and then it goes into a snow level, and then it has a jungle level, and then kind of like a space level.
Yeah, it really pushes the characters.
I mean, this thing says, like, the game's distinct British humor is also distinguished it from other games, and the game's music would to resemble, like, B-movies. So it was going for something.
It was going for something.
And, like, I feel like the more you get into the game, the more I started to like it, because the control was pretty good, I thought. And the control gets better as you find out that the next stages get a little more difficult, so you're doing things on like 3 planes and you're getting really high and vertical, and you're not just staying on the ground.
Sure.
So it's a game where if you invest a few hours into it, it ends up doing a little bit better. But I don't. What about you, Shane? Go ahead.
Negative Nancy here.
Go ahead. All right. Go ahead. If you didn't like it, it's not your cup of tea. That's fine.
Tell us what. I'm glad it was your pick, not like a listener pick, because I still had to lay it out, because to me is one of the worst games I played in a long time. It might be my top 10 worst games I don't like.
Yeah. Not having anything to do with the emulation that you said was tough.
Yeah, maybe that was sort of the fault. I don't know.
That had to be part of it, I guess, because it made you not really continue playing. Because then you say it glitched on you.
It glitched on me, and then I seen if that was just like maybe a one-time deal, and I did it again, and then I just tried to play without even going through like the ship and having the glitch again, and I played a little bit, and I was just disinterested. I mean, there's no main character. The main characters are you keep jumping back and forth to different animals.
Yeah,
the animals to me just there's nothing there. I mean, it's a dog that barks. Okay.
Well, that's the first one. There's a lot more than that.
And the sheep, and then all the other one, the mouse. None of them were interesting to me.
You get a gorilla, you get a lion, you get other stuff a little later that gets a little more. But yeah, they're average animals. They're nothing like extraordinary or anything. I didn't like the camera.
I didn't think the camera, and I've heard people say that the camera is actually pretty good for that kind of game, and I didn't think it was good at all. I think I was always having trouble. It was really tight into where I was trying to look and everything. The controller I'm going to blame on the Xbox because I'm playing on an Xbox, and I think that joystick actually probably would have helped that out a little bit. So I'm not going to bag on the controller. The graphic, like I said, they can't draw a perfect circle. Man, I mean, just everything. The music's repetitive. I don't know. It's just there's just nothing there. And I see the cult following sort of behind this too, and it just sort of blows my mind.
Oh,
and because I watched some videos to sort of see like, well, who else is gonna bag? I didn't see one single person bag on this game, and I'm like, okay, I'm the butthole that hates this game. And
I've seen some people
really
not like it. Yeah,
I literally looked through 10 YouTube videos, and I couldn't find a person bag on it. Yeah,
I just think it has to do with it if it's something like, do you like puzzle platformers? You know, there's puzzle platformers are pretty specific. A 3D puzzle platformer. You know,
like
that's not for everybody.
Conquers type of deal.
No, those are just platformers, I think. Like a puzzle platformer, I think. Like this one, you don't get to move very far before you get something else. I think the other ones, at least, they have more action. Like you said, they have a protagonist that you're used to. And I'll get you there. I totally agree. You're a microchip.
Yeah.
I kind of had a similar feel to that Blast Core, too.
Yeah,
with like the little kind of small puzzles.
You're right. Yeah,
in this one little land.
Yeah, I do feel like that Blast Core and Space Station Silicon Valley, for being completely different, very similar, odd games that only came out on the 64, and that I think honestly, if you have if you're collecting for the 64, you should pick both those up.
Yeah, they are definitely different kind of games.
But like instead of being, it's kind of swapping automobiles for animals.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do so much, and I'll give them credit for that. But then they did nothing right, in my opinion.
Yeah,
there was just nothing right about it. It was just they wanted to do a lot of things, but it just didn't work out for them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try to cut it down anymore. It's just it wasn't my cup of tea. I wouldn't pick it up for $2 if I seen it.
Yeah, really.
I'll probably go out of my way not to pick it up. Tell you the truth. I mean, that's all I can say about it.
You'd pick it up for $2. You know, it's
I would pick it up and sell it.
I say you pick it up for $2.
You're right. You're very right on that. I won't have it in my collection ever. Yep.
Yeah.
Just wasn't my cup of tea, man.
Yeah, it has to. You have to. And I'm one. I notoriously I like different, and I'm okay with different if it is not as polished as a AAA game, because I really think you make your innovations when you dare to do something different. And there hasn't been another game that's done anything like this, but would I be surprised if a prolific programmer would go back and say, I really like this game. I liked XYZ game. I would not be surprised if they said, oh yeah, Space Station Silicon Valley, that game did some interesting things.
Very ambitious, and I could see it. It has room for growth, which like you're saying.
Even the story, it's out there. And someone who had to think about this is someone who wears like polka dotted shirts and ties. And the person you want to talk to at the airport bar, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to talk to the other guy who's just gonna like bore you to death. Like it's someone who's a little interesting and thinks outside the box. Like again, you only need little dashes of this. If every game was like this and they made 5 of them, they would get old really quickly and they wouldn't sell. Yeah. But I'm just one where if it's different, I give it a little bit of a pass if things aren't as polished and nuanced. Just because I'm like, good, it's not XYZ, another platformer that's a cutesy, fill-in-the-blank character that's going around doing the same stuff, trying to get, this evil person taking his girlfriend or whatever. Like, it's just the same stuff.
And
so that's part of the reason why I really like it.
Yeah, and that's why I put it kind of at the good level and not like a bad, because there isn't anything really to compare it to on the N64. Maybe, like I said, from what I think of, maybe Blast Corps, but
just because it's different.
Just because it's different, the puzzles and you get the different cars and everything and different animals. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that it. It's something that is new and fresh, and
it's kind of.
And it's not for everyone.
No, they made something kind of weird that involved animals that were fur fighters for the Dreamcast. Do you guys ever play that one?
Man, I think
it's like
I
a
third-person
shooter.
Played the demo. I think I played the demo of that.
It's like a weird, like third-person for like cutesy shooter.
Also,
yeah. It's a weird game, but Control when you didn't have 2 analog sticks, you can't play. Yeah. You can't play those kind of games again. Like the hardest time I have playing. If we're kind of talking about stuff that's like hard to play, old school. Are the games that were meant for like 1 analog stick when you weren't used to those control Turok. But Turok was great. I love freaking Turok. Turok gets a pass because it's like you felt like you were.
To me, that was the first person shooter that just felt right with that stick.
Yeah, and it ran so smooth, but it also ran really smooth because because you couldn't see past 10 feet.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know,
that's true. Yeah.
But anyway, Space Station, Silicon Valley. It's a mixed review. It's definitely not for it's definitely not for everybody. I mean, there's I didn't like that one last game. John Riggs shouted me. What was the last game we did with the NES? And you're like doing Olympics, but it was like Backstreet Olympics.
Oh, Bad Street Brawlers.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was funny. John was saying, like, I was in my car just yelling, how have you not heard of that game? I was like, I never even heard of that game ever in my life. So there's always going to be stuff where it's like, oh my God, this is my favorite game ever. I don't know how many people would say Space Station Silicon Valley is their favorite game, but it's just, again, I'm different. I'm weird. I'm a kind of a different color. That's part of what draws me in. Yeah, is you got to dare to be a little different. Let's get to the back of the box. This one's a long one. I might. Oh gosh, I could have just read this because Space Station was intended to be the most technologically advanced amusement park. That's right, it wasn't a zoo; it was an amusement park that they wanted to shoot into space. Right?
Yeah.
Ever known. Shortly after takeoff, it disappeared. Now the year 3000, it's back on a collision course with the Earth. That's why they're stopping it.
That's why.
It's because there's a collision course with the Earth. It doesn't just show up; it's actually going in. But 30 different levels. Great fun to remember, yada yada, and then that's it, because then it just says it in 3 languages. So that basically says unlock mysterious parts of the valley. It's all great fun, but remember, the fate of the world is in your hands. A wild adventure to save the next millennia. So anyway, very stunted back of the box. It doesn't want to give away too many of its secrets, but there's a lot of different animals in this thing. So bang for the buck. If you're looking for a game that like will take you a while to get through and you like platformers, yeah, go for it. If you like a different game, yeah. If you're just looking for like the top 20 games for the 64 to round out your collection, this would not be in it. But top 50, heck yeah. Because our library's not there. This is not going to be one that's going to be on the N64 Mini.
Yeah,
I kind of would want it. I kind of would want it to be on there. I know you wouldn't. I know you would hate it. You would hate it. But like, I want something weird because 64, the good games on there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's only going to be those. I'm going to be really surprised that thing comes out. Everybody's saying the 64.
I just don't see how, because of that joystick, and then
everybody thinks it's going to come out. I don't think so.
You're going to have a ton of controllers for that, because the top 10 games are all multiplayer games. So you're going to have a lot of.
I think they'll release it with 2 controllers like they did the Super Nintendo.
I think they got to, but they really need to pump up the controllers, because I mean, you need to have 4 players playing on that, because
that's true.
A lot of good games. Like, I don't really like the N64, but I'll give it its props, man. 4-player games on that, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't have a really great reason that I haven't really come up with. I just feel like the N64, everybody's thinking, oh, it's going to be next, and the GameCube, then this. It's like, no, they're going to stop eventually, and I wouldn't be surprised it stops with the SNES. Like, I don't
know why you need a GameCube. You could just get that on there on the Switch's like little eShop or whatever,
Well, my barometer for like percentages, which means nothing. I'm an amateur idiot, but like I just put it at like a 20% chance, where everybody's saying it's 90 for coming out.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to have to cost more. It's more complicated. Nintendo can't even deal with like putting these simple ones out, which are the NES and And honestly, here's the other part of it. NES, Super NES, way more popular among collectors, among the average person than the 64.
Yeah.
Easily. Yes. I mean, that's unquestionable. We all know the 64 because we're in our weird little circle of people.
It is catching up, though, a bit, I feel. I feel it's starting to...
I just feel like a lot of people played those 5 to 10 games, and that's it for the system.
Yeah, but
unless they really nail that list out of the park, I don't.
I'm pretty confident they're not going to do the GameCube though. I just don't think it was popular enough to be honest.
I don't think they should. To tell you the truth, that wouldn't handle well. It's another one you got to do 4 controllers probably. I mean, figure out how many controllers to get.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just even the classic stuff. Again, the 64, it was a short shelf life. It was prolific, and when it first came out, and I love the last, big cartridge-based console.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
I don't dog on the system, but I have a hard time thinking it's going to come out. Well, anyway, that was our video game book club dad pick. We're on to our listener pick. What do you guys want to do, listener pick or dad pick first?
Let's do listener.
All right, our listener pick. We got to put it in our little pool. Oh, and sorry, so we have...
Fired up yet?
No, we're not going to fire it up yet. Apologies early. We have had 3 more additions to our listener pick, but we're going to have to add them to our next week because I wrote them down. I don't have them. I don't have a really good excuse besides that. But we're going to add. So sorry. Please send in your listener picks, and we apologize. We've gotten them. We will add them. We're just not doing it this episode. We'll add them to episode 31. We just, for time constraints, we're not going to add them this time. So it gives more of a chance for our picks that have been in there since like episode 2 or 3. But anyway, let's spool it up.
Sure.
And it is, oh my gosh, okay. Well, look at this. It finally happened. Our first guest on the show, Norman Caruso, also known as the gaming historian, his pick, it was a Sega Genesis game. Normie's Beach Babe-O-Rama?
Beach Babe-O-Rama.
All right, Normie's Beach Babe-O-Rama.
I've never even seen this or played it.
Yeah,
so a game. Interesting.
Yeah. So
you have it, don't you, Ben?
I do. I own it. After Norm picked it, this was back when we didn't have as many. We only had like 6 or 7 in our pool, and we were like, as soon as someone picked a game, we're like, crap, we're gonna have to go buy it and pass it around and stuff. So I went and found it in St. Joe, the St. Joe Game Exchange for like, I don't know, I think it was like $7 or something like that. It wasn't too bad. But I will save my thoughts on it for next time.
I will have to borrow it from you then.
Yeah. So Norm, I bet he's happy to hear that. He's probably like, I forgot I even did this. I forgot about your show.
What is your show? What is this?
What is this again? This? Yeah,
we're tweeting at you. What?
Yeah, we're tweeting at he's quite the globetrotter now. He hops around everywhere and does he does little videos for Facebook now, which is kind of cool. So I think Facebook approached him to do little bite-sized chunks of gaming historian stuff.
That. It's so funny that people are freaking out about that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, man.
What do you mean?
People are just like, oh, you're going to do Facebook video games.
Oh, talking crap on it?
Yeah, talking crap. It's like, get real people.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. See, that's why people...
Everybody complains about everything. I give up.
Well, it's mainly, I feel like, YouTube in general. Like, we don't... Yes. Again, we...
it's too easy to set up troll accounts. People would just make multiple accounts.
And that's,
You delete them and they just come back stronger and heavier.
Yeah. And, we wouldn't survive in that. We'd get too much hate. But, I don't know. It's too easy for that kind of stuff to happen. Just people kind of, they want everything in such a small 2-minute bite-sized segment. When you go to something like YouTube, if it's not something you want people's time, they just feel is like wasted. They just put it in the comment immediately. And this like back and forth, get to it. Oh, I hate your intro. I wouldn't survive long. So more power to you. We appreciate all those content providers that keep kicking it out there. But the hate is something else. So anyway, that's going to be our video game listener pick. Norman Caruso, thank you very much for that. Let's move on to our video game dad pick. We're still on the Nintendo 64, and up is...
It's our last pick, isn't it?
Yes, this is our last pick.
Our last one, from the Fog Machine.
Bye-bye, 64.
See you later, 64.
I'm going to pick WCW NWO Revenge, brother.
Nice, good pick.
I'm so excited for this. Yes,
good
some
pick.
Wrestling. We're going to get some wrestling in our lives.
Yeah,
and I'm amazed that some of you guys haven't played it. I don't think...
I haven't.
Oh, my.
I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah,
you have been? Okay.
Oh yeah,
man! I'm looking at it. I'm giving you that.
I missed those
now.
wrestling games on N64.
Yeah. Man, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
These are the best.
Yeah, wrestling games on 64 are a big reason why I don't play them since, because
You can't beat them.
And like I remember I played some baseball games on the 64, and the honestly All-Star Baseball and softball on the 64. You guys probably never played either. You want to talk about a game? I love those games. Yeah, I didn't play games again till PS3. Till all of a sudden I was at a Best Buy and saw a game and it was like, oh, this looks like a TV. This looks like TV. Yeah. So even though it's super simulation now and the games take forever.
I like Griffey's on 64, man. I thought that was a solid baseball game.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, then you go to, Ken Griffey Jr., the Major League Baseball for SNES. Yeah, still might be one.
Home highest, Run Derby I was all about that.
Oh, yeah. Highest reviewed game. That one's amazing. But, yeah, Winning Run was amazing. The second one on the Super Nintendo was amazing. There's a lot of great, like, baseball. Slugfest was a big one that was on the... And I feel like they made Slugfest for... like PS3 and that kind of stuff, and those were real arcadey.
Yeah.
Now I heard they're making the RBI games again, but those are not really great.
Yeah, they're budget titles that come out like $20. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say the last year of MLB The Show had a retro mode that had the old Ken Griffey game in it,
cool.
And then you could change the graphics. I bought that just for that. When the game got down to $15, it was MLB The Show 17, I think.
I have it.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's real cool, and that's all I played. Like I just powered it up and I had to get to the retro mode or whatever, and I just played the old version of the game on the new system, which is like funny because it's counterintuitive, but especially when I have like the Winning Run anyway. But so yes, I did play this back in the day, and it was amazing. I played WCW NWO Revenge, that one probably the most.
Yeah, that one's my favorite because I was more of a WCW guy, and WrestleMania is probably the better of the game, but I like
World
the
Tour.
roster. Well, not World Tour was actually the first N64 wrestling game, and then WrestleMania 2000, I want to say.
How many were there total? 4 or 5?
There was 3. From what I remember, 3.
Okay.
Because then
you might be right.
There was those horrible ones. I think there's a few. No Mercy.
I'll say No Mercy.
Was No Mercy actually a THQ game? Because all that matters is if it's THQ on the label. Those are awesome wrestling games back then. But there was a few like WWF Attitudes that were just awful. One of the worst wrestling games.
And those are for 64 as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, WWF Attitude was for Dreamcast, and it was one game. When I was going for the whole Dreamcast set, it was one game that I was going to give away for free. And that was when I didn't even go for the whole... I think that made me not go for the complete collection that I have now, was I played WWF Attitude... And I was thinking it was going to be amazing, and I was like, "This game is just terrible."
Yeah, because they try to do too much, and the mechanics are just awful.
Yeah,
it's really.
I'm looking through right now, and Mayhem wasn't out there. We've got WF Warzone.
Warzone was not THQ. Yep. That was
bad. And then Attitude, and then WCW versus NWO World Tour, and then WCW NWO Revenge. And WrestleMania 2000 and WWF No Mercy. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, No Mercy.
There's 6 of them.
About that. That's probably just the roster on this one's my favorite.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and this was the one I played. This one was the
first one that had the intro music too. Sorry, I'm giving away a lot here, but
no, we'll talk about it later.
Right now,
so good.
It's so tight of mechanics. It just fits wrestling, man. It's great.
Yeah.
I'll have to give it a
I'm
try.
excited for you to play it. Actually.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it's blocky character 64,
okay.
But start playing with it because then you can hop out of the ring. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. But it's a lot of fun. It's funny. I could see The Rock on the cover of WrestleMania 2000. I just feel like that. I love how this guy 18 years later looks twice as stacked now than he did before.
Not steroids.
Yeah.
No way steroids.
I don't know, man. If you're making so many millions of dollars, Would you
believe the highest paid?
Oh, I mean, you might as
it's ridiculous.
He is now the highest grossing actor.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's the action guy. That's the guy you go to, and he can act and he can do some comedy. So
I know. Hey, honestly, he's very charismatic. He commands on the screen. Looking at him, he does what he does. He does it well.
He does too. Is promoting movies and stuff. I mean, he, like you said, he could talk really well, so that it fits. Because sometimes you get those action guys that are just drooling on themselves.
He was kind of funny in Jumanji too. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
He's not. Yeah, he's not offensive, which is funny. Okay, the background too is he was a college football player, like back in the U, which the U is the University of Miami, and the football players at the University of Miami in the early 2000s and 90s were like hardcore, like they did some parties. They did some crazy stuff, like coke and women, all this stuff. And I've been waiting for like stuff to come out, like you know what I mean? Like everybody's got their black skeletons in their closet. And he's kept clean.
Yeah,
I like his HBO show. The Ballers thing is good too.
Yeah,
so
maybe he didn't have a wife, and there's nothing really dirty. He's a single guy. You know?
Is he single? Has he got kids? I feel like he's probably the single guy. He's already got like 2 kids or something.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
They're like 18 or whatever. Have you ever seen his high school senior pictures?
Holy
crap! This guy. Well, when he was like even 15, he looked like he was 25. Like, look at it. Just Google.
Well, his dad was a
what's
wrestler.
his real name? What's his real name? Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah,
Look up Dwayne Johnson yearbook picture and just prepared to just be like, this guy just looked like he was like JV water polo in the middle school, like, or something. He's just oh man. But anyway, those are our video game book club picks for next time. We have Shane WCW versus NWO Revenge, and our listener pick from Norman Caruso, also known as the gaming historian Normie's Beach Babe Orama.
Wow.
For next time. Thank you. So something we were going to talk about is, retro games when they come back and get reignited. It's quite something. There was a trilogy back on the PlayStation that Crash Bandicoot came out, and that did really well. And then a lot of people started asking for Spyro the Dragon, the little purple dragon that came out on the PlayStation 1. I have real fond memories for this and a lot of nostalgia for it. I really love this game. There's a trilogy on the PlayStation that just got announced that it was going to get remade, and it's releasing this year in freaking September 24th, even before we go to like Portland Retro Game Expo. I love thinking about like, oh my God, this game's coming out before you even go there. How fun is that? That's how my brain thinks. Came out in 1998. It is a platformer, but what did this different was, there wasn't any distance issues with Spyro. They played with the hardware in a way where you can see into the distance all the way to the end of the level. And it did some trickery with it. The music was amazing. I've talked about it before. It was done by the drummer from the Police, Stuart Copeland. At least the first one. Then it was, nuanced, moved around, taken around by some other composer. I don't think he did 2 and 3. The first one was also the first game I've ever completed 100%, like completionist style, like grabbed everything, every single gem, and that was before like you had cheat codes and stuff. And it was basically there's 100 gems in every level, and there's only so many places you can look because it's not like where you're going into caves and everything, but it's still tough. But that was a ton of fun. Then you can unlock a bonus level at the end of that. Spyro Ripto's Rage and Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, all of them reviewed really, really well. Very highly rated games, all 80s and up, 85s and up. They also continued to make games through the PS2 era and started to do PS3. Then it got into Skylander. It started to lose its way. And the innovation kind of got lost in some of the control.
When it went there.
When it went to Skylanders, it really just...
That really wasn't Spyro.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They're just using the name.
Exactly, and I like how this new one's called, Reignited Trilogy or whatever. But I was super happy to hear about this. Also, it was Insomniac, I guess, that made it was the.
Which they do, they'll do a good job with that. Is this coming out for all platforms, or what's it coming out for? Yeah,
it's coming out for. I'm pretty sure. Obviously Switch, PS4 and Xbox, but I think
is Switch gonna get it? Or
actually,
is it later?
No, it's actually just PS4 and Xbox. PS4 and Xbox.
But they sort of did that with Crash too.
Crash is coming out.
Yeah, so it'll just be later.
Yeah,
which that'd be a really good.
Sure, if it does well, they'll probably release it later.
They got to put it on there. I mean, that'd be a really good Switch on the Switch, man, because it's not pushing the graphics insanely. So
I'm sure. Oh no, it's not at all. No. And that one was also
that on the go. It's gonna be awesome.
By the developer Toys for Bob, who did Crash Bandicoot as well. And if you hear a tiny howling in back, don't think something that's weird. It's like my cat. He just does that at night. So if you hear this tiny howl in the background, I don't know if it comes through on our mics, but I don't doubt that it does. Every once in a while, he'll just
jazz it up a little bit. That's a plain old wolf that you got. A wolf upstairs. His name's Russ or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Russ the wolf with his mighty meow. Yeah.
I lost a leg coming over here one time.
Anyway, but yeah, he's all scaled up. Same sick burn, same smoldering attitude. Now all scaled up in HD. Anyway, I'm super excited. I've always wanted this. And I will totally awesome. I will totally replay him. I don't
have a lot of history with Spyro, but it's gonna be awesome though. I'll get it. I'll pick that up for sure. I'm waiting for Crash to get jumped a little bit cheaper, just because I'm a cheap. But yeah.
I got Crash on PS4. I got lucky. I got it on Switch when they did a price mess up. I messaged you guys when that happened, and that was courtesy of Wario64. I told you guys just. Put them on your. It showed up for about 3 minutes, and I got it for I want to say like $18 or something like that for Switch.
For a brand new game. Bet.
Yeah, so it'll get down to that eventually. And you didn't play this, Michael, at all?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I have all of them on my collection. I just never,
really?
Yeah. I played it the first one when it came out, and I liked it. It's just nothing that I went back to, just because there's so much pumping out for PlayStation at that time. So
sure, it just does things really well. It's got it's got this weird kind of Nintendo polish to it.
It does, man. It's got that
and again,
Nintendo charm too.
Yeah. For a Sony title, that was just the first, especially when they were pushing the whole like, oh, we're extreme, you're not. It's like, no, actually, we can do a platformer that is more cartoony and make it like
Spyro
the control
better than Crash.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, I'm kind of the same way because you can fly.
Yeah,
and the really control cool. and you can breathe fire.
Characters are interesting. I mean, like it reminds me sort of like
it's 3D.
Conkers, but the characters. There's a lot of characters that are pretty neat and stuff on there. So
yeah, and you're not kind of on a rolling gyroscope of like your level is stuck and you've only got 4 feet left and right to move. Like you're fully 3D 360, can go wherever you want to. I just think it's a better game. But again, it's just apples and oranges. They're both great trilogies for sure. I'm just glad it came out. That being said, too, the other thing, we are a dad podcast. It would be weird if we didn't say this. There was a very prolific dad that came out recently, in the last week, and that is Kratos. They were saying, Dad of War. I know this was a game that you mentioned or Adam mentioned as looking forward to games coming out. And I'm pretty sure it's kind of funny because we're all busy dads.
I think it was Adam,
I don't know if Adam's already bought it, but I think all 4 of us have.
I put money on it.
He hasn't talked about it. That's just it. He hasn't said it's amazing. Like with Adam, you'd be like, "You guys, this game's so epic," and he'll text. I haven't gotten that from him yet.
So maybe
I bet he hasn't played it yet. But I know he's going to. I want to bad, but what was crazy is this game is reviewing like off the charts.
Yeah.
Not like great, not whatever, not hyperbole. Like this game, people are saying in the industry. I went back and saw Electronic Playground. Please, if you want to see any kind of content, Electronic Playground's been talking about this. Had some developer interview type stuff, and had some people just really saying like, hey, this might be not only the best game of this generation, might be up there with my most favorite game ever.
Wow.
And I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to spoil. Eventually, it'd be a great game for us to all kind of review and play, and I think eventually we'll get there. I want it to be my next big game after I get through with Far Cry, which who knows, because I'm a dad. It takes like 20 years to get through a game now. Used to be I could spend a solid weekend, cut out 4 days. Like 4 days? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What am I going to do for 4 days? I was sick the last 2 days, and I was home from work, and all I got to do was like sleep in my bed. And you just don't get 4 days anymore. But I'm super jealous of all those people who say, "Oh my God, please 4 days straight." Like, how can you do that?
I hate you and love you at the same time.
I know, right? Live vicariously through you. We just can't do it. But anyway, God of War, the remake is like,
I heard some of the elements they've taken elements of other games, which I was really surprised that they did that. I'm really going into blind on this game, so I'm just spitting out stuff that I just sort of seen really quick. But didn't they do some sort of stuff from like Last of Us or something like that?
Well, they're just this game was started being made 5 years ago, and they definitely are taking some elements from games like The Witcher, Last of Us. They're getting into a deeper narrative where it's a very cinematic game, but actually the way it's shot, the way the action and the way the cutscenes go, it really is very much like a movie, more than any game even before it that they say. So it does. It needed to break something different, because God of War 1, 2, 3, and then God of War Ascension.
Those are all more hack and slash, because I'm not the biggest God of War fan. I just sort of watch my buddy. Those are more hack and slash type. I mean, loosely, right? Correct?
Yeah, a God of War is. I mean, most people kind of. It's a hack and slash game set in a kind of. This one also is a more Norse. Setting as opposed to the like Greek god.
Yeah, that's what I was to say. More Greek gods back then, correct?
And God of War 1, God of War 2 are some of the best games. Also, Metacritic 98. You're talking they score in the top 20 of all time.
Yeah,
especially God of War 2, and then God of War 3. This game though, now the top reviewed game I think is Grand Theft Auto 5, and then you get into Persona, then you get into Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid,
that
kind of stuff. It's right up there with them. And there is a video out there that if anything will sell you in order to buy this game. The developer, there's a video of him having a real-time reaction of looking at the Metacritic reviews. And this dev is the most down-to-earth guy. Like if you ever see like reviews, IGN does this thing where they throw Twitter questions to developers, and a lot of them are like trolley type stuff that they do, like a late night TV where people read mean tweets or something. And he takes all of them in stride and like is hilarious. He's like, oh,
that's cool.
Call it, yeah, you'll have to see it, because he's just a real quick-witted guy. But he basically is home, and you see him like freaking out a little bit, just saying like, cool. I'm about to check out Metacritic, because the review embargo goes up, and he's like, this is 5 years of so many people working their butts off, and I just don't know which way this is going to go.
Wow.
Yep. And he refreshes it, and it says like 94, and it's funny, awesome. As he's refreshing, goes through 95, he starts crying.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's
cool.
legitimate stuff from a dude that gave everything into this, and I'm trying not to spoil it for myself, but the reviews are just showing like, everybody's just saying like this is freaking amazing.
That's really cool, because a lot of those developers, sometimes they get a big ego, so it's they don't really care.
All up freaking that BioShock guy, Ken Levine. I like Ken Levine. I think his games are great, but sometimes they're so out of touch, right? Yes. They're like they got the surgeon syndrome.
They get that one game, and then they think they're like an artist. It's almost like Grandma's Boys. Like that one guy makes one good game, and then he thinks everything he touches from then on out is the greatest thing ever. It's
really?
Not really.
See, I don't know. I don't think it's really so much that they're egotistical. I think when you are at some high level where you're in charge of all these people, and you're the lead director, right? You're the game director, so you're in charge of the artistic director of the movie, and you're supposed to be in charge of all these people. You can't almost have like this inflated sense of ego, just not only based on that, but based on your position of having to be a leader and make decisions and cut people and all this other stuff. Yeah, exactly. You lose a lot of your humanness to all that. Yeah. I think it's like being cocky is one thing. The other side of it is, you're just untouchable, because who can relate to you, really? Yeah. Who else manages something like that except someone who's like, who's like, the CEO of XYZ or this kind of thing. So most of them come out being awkward as heck. Like, again, Ken Levine doesn't listen to this, but I listen to Ken Levine interviews, and he is such an average guy, down to earth. But when you listen to how he ran his, how he expected everybody to be perfect all the time, and he would all of a sudden cut something that someone spent weeks and weeks on, and it's just like, God, no wonder everybody thought you were such an a-hole. Yeah. But he loves games. I remember, he's endearing. His favorite game was like Paper Mario for the 64. Ken Levine, favorite. And I'm just like, and then he talked for Paper Mario for 20 minutes. I'm like, I love this guy. Yeah, that's cool. But he probably is an a-hole. And what do you know? He stops making games now because he was like, he was burning the candle at too. Yeah, he was too into it. But anyway, had to shout that out. So I'm sure people are. Let us know what you think about it. No spoilers, though. We will get to it. It's such a dad game. Yeah. You know what I mean? We gotta.
I was a little worried that it might be like just his son tagging along, a little tag along mission type of deal, but it's not that way. That's from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no,
it's because you see a kid being on there, and it's just gonna be like escort mission the whole time or something.
Yeah, no, this kid holds his own. This kid is your distance guy. He's your he
backs you up a little bit, not so much you're protecting him. He sort of helps you out, actually.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's one
of
those games
about
where
that when I seen it.
I know. Well, this again, everything I read is it not to be worried about anything and then expect to be like blown away is all I'm hearing. So I'm just expecting to be blown away.
Pick it up. I didn't really check it out too much. No. So now you're making me want to. Pick
And I'm
it
not
up,
trying
actually.
to hype it up. I literally just spent one night reading things and then going at reviews and then looking at videos specifically that don't spoil stuff, and I was just like, holy crap, okay, this is going to be a game that changes the genre. That is what guys are saying who are like review every game known to man. They're kind of like, this is a turning point for games. This is as big of a turning point as any games have been in 10-20 years.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, that makes me super excited. So getting all around great praise. Something we've been playing though, Michael, we've been playing a modern game. We talk about old games. Michael, what have you been playing that I've also tried to be playing?
I've been playing a little Far Cry 5 lately.
Yeah.
And I've been really enjoying it myself. I'm about 2/3 of the way done. And you can kind of tell because you kind of have a map and kind of everything all. You kind of do what you want. It's pretty obviously like free roam.
Yeah, a lot of those Far Cries are real free roam.
Yeah, and this one even more so.
The whole map is unlocked.
Yeah, the whole map is unlocked. You don't have to climb towers now, which is getting repetitive.
Yeah.
To unlock different lands and stuff. Tons of different environments in there. I haven't even explored the whole map yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've probably seen about 2/3 of it. Like the mechanics. Graphics look great.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
You can pretty much do anything in the game.
There's something compared to this one. Like the land feels a little more real and realized. It's set in Montana. I've never been to Montana, but just the way the hills are made and the animals and moving from place to place, it feels a little more well done. Like they actually went back to the drawing book to try to make, okay, what does this world look like? What do these streets look? And maybe because this is now in a place that looks more similar to something that I'm used to. Because because the other places were like Tibet and where else? Where's Far 3? Like a random like jungle area. Island, so that might have a lot to do with it because it's more a country.
Maybe if we're in Florida or something.
But
we'll feel a bit more at home. This is more a little bit more.
And I feel more like immersed in it. More so, even comparing it to like even like a Grand Theft Auto with having like all the animals and more like realistic cars. You don't have like Harriers and things flying in above you like military ships and stuff.
Yeah.
This just gave you like a pretty good real feel.
Yeah, I agree.
And you just kind of explore, run into things. I even have trouble just. Keeping with the missions because I keep on going on these side missions and stuff because every time you like finish a mission, there's like new side missions that open up.
Yeah.
And it's just been a lot of fun.
The petty stashes or the what is it? Prepper stashes,
stashes
are some of my favorite parts. So that's not a spoiler. It's basically preppers are those people who are crazy that hide shit, hide stuff everywhere. Did I finish the tea? Do I have to bleep myself out? Say we don't cuss. You can listen to hide stuff everywhere.
But they have these bunkers, essentially.
Yeah, basically. But the bunkers are always hidden in different places, and sometimes it's a little puzzle to like figure out where they are, and you can't unlock them until you get a clue as to where they are.
Exactly.
It's just, and there's so many caves in this one, and the caves aren't just like a hole in the ground, walk in, move around. Like some of the caves, you think you're going in, and it's going to be won't be much, and then all of a sudden it's like this huge like labyrinth that you go into, and
that's cool.
just the verticalness of it, like how high you have to climb sometimes, being able to not jump in, but airplanes are now a lot more free. Helicopters, things like that. You can also buy helicopters everywhere you're going, like customize different weapons, things like that.
You can like unlock things through the missions too, like different planes and
if
stuff.
you want to see Jake, the other guy, do kind of on the side, the PSVR podcast, we hop together the multiplayer. plug them, check them out. It's just we do a podcast in the PSVR universe now that PSVR is getting more popular. A couple of guys that I know that
everybody should check it out. It's really good. I watch them all. So
cool. Yeah, it's just fun. It's really fun doing it in the virtual space, just like we are now. Except you don't have to get all the equipment out and everything and just beam it right anyway. But he's check it out because he streamed himself and me doing you can do 2-person multiplayer, but you stay in the campaign.
Co-op, yeah.
It's co-op. And whoever's hosting it, you're at that point in there. Yes. No. Well, actually,
does everybody get what they get though?
Yes.
And it takes it over to theirs.
Yes. Cool. So that's what's cool. So if you get into a stash and you both find like $2,000 or $3,000 in money, which is significant in this game, both people can pick up their own money.
Oh, okay.
And then you progress in that person's story, but you still get to keep your money and your perk points and that kind of thing.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you unlock perks?
Yes.
That's cool. Because sometimes I do cheesy where this host gets everything. Or it just doesn't go to anybody. And it's just like you're playing sort of on like the campamping type of deal.
What was great was Jake helped me with a boss. And I think he streamed the whole thing. So you can, again, if you go to PSVR podcast on YouTube, you can find it. And it's one of the more recent videos where we both, but that way you can look and see what it looks like. But anyway, it's like 40 minutes or something like that. And you can just see how it plays. He helps me with one of the bosses. That's the cool thing. When you have 2-player, we were able to get through a boss really quickly, which I didn't mind.
Did they amp up how hard the boss is when you got 2 people, or actually, just not too much?
So Jake took care of that boss by himself earlier, and he kind of said he felt like it went longer, so they do amp it up a little bit. But the game is a ton of fun with 2 people. But if you don't have 2 people, Michael, what you were saying was you can have like rosters, like
you have like helpers essentially like sim teammates essentially.
Yeah.
And there's like a wide variety from different animals. Yeah. Like right now I have a bear called Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger's awesome.
Yeah. And you can have a dog named Boomer. Like and I don't have the cougar. I believe it's a cougar, right?
Yeah, there's a cougar. Yeah.
Can't remember his name, but because I don't have
now
him.
I'm getting fired up about this game. It's a girl. Played it, so
they have 3 animals and like 6 people. But what's cool about the people is you can have one person come in with like a helicopter that just shoots from the sky. So you can have her target. You can have a sniper lady.
Explosion, like a guy with like an RPG.
Yep. That guy, there's a guy who comes in and just burns everything.
Yeah, he causes trouble for me. Yeah. He kills my other helpers too.
And you can revive them. The Cheeseburger is great because you can just sick them on people from far away. And let's say you're on a hill and you're looking down a bank, and then you could see there's 2 guys, and you could just say, hey, go get them. And then the puma will like kill him stealthily, and the Cheeseburger, but it'll create havoc. So then you can come in.
And they'll focus in on the bear.
Trying to get the bear killed.
Yeah, and the sniper lady, but again,
I use her a lot.
Yeah, I think the best is I'll do sniper and cougar a lot together. But like you can use 2 at a time. It's just a ton of fun.
I do a cool sniper mode. If somebody snipes, does it slow it down or anything like that? I like.
Unfortunately, not. That would be cool.
I like stuff like that. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, a lot of
sort of breaks away from stuff, but I like that.
Yeah, I highly recommend. You don't have to play previous games.
Far Cry is sort of. They do a very good job. I know this much that they do a good job of setting the world different each game. More times than not.
And you can be like real tactical in that you can like assign like for your sniper lady to kill this person, and then you like have your bear attack this person.
Yeah.
With like your D-pad, and so it adds a little bit extra element to that old game. The older Far Cry's didn't have.
Yeah, definitely. Some people are knocking the game, which is kind of fun. Like Jake and I were talking about that, and the thing is like how we were having so much fun, like blasting through the game. He'd get in my pickup truck. Like we just got a prepper stash, and I got a new type of pickup, which you could see in that little video, I guess. And it was like a brand new video, and you unlock it, or a brand new car, and you unlock it, and then I'm like, oh god, this is so great. So we just hop in, and he jumps in the back, and we just start shooting crap, and you know, I just run into, I get, people I think were thinking the story was maybe doing what what God of War and all these other, where it like moves something forward and it changes things. And really this is just like a better version of a Far Cry game. And they wanted this
setting it is.
Yeah. Yes. And there's a like religious cult, and obviously like probably racial tension, all this stuff. I think people were wanting them to like double down on it, and they don't. They don't. They get into it, but at the end of the day, these are just like bad guys that are motivated by money and an evil guy at the beginning. So they don't go too into it, but it helps create the setting, and
it's a good enough job to do the setting.
Yeah, and I still think the characters are done really well, and they have motivations. What happened? Did you break yourself?
I just dropped my phone. Don't worry, nothing important. No beer spilled. Nothing like that, so it's all right.
Cracking one open. But anyway, Far Cry Crazy. Anything else you got on it? Just a really good game.
Yeah, I'll just say like the really like the only thing I didn't like, I should say, is so like you'll be going and just kind of exploring around, going to your next mission, and then all of a sudden you'll get attacked, and all of a sudden like darts will hit you. You know what I'm talking about, and you'll get kind of taken off to a cutscene.
Oh yeah.
And some of those, I was kind of like in the middle of something, and all of a sudden like you'll just get kind of swooped up and taken away. That I didn't like. Some of the cutscenes I thought were a little out there. I wasn't as attached to the story as much as like the third one, or really even the fourth. The third Far Cry was probably my favorite for sure.
Yeah, it was real good.
But this one just had me a little bit less interested in the story. I, found myself even one cutscene like hitting the skip button, like halfway through it.
Gotcha.
But overall, it's been a really good game for me.
There's always the dream sequences in it. That's just like every Far Cry's got that. It's funny you say that. So when they pull you out, so what happens is it's a progress bar. So the more you liberate an area by creating missions, you get to certain checkpoints, and then the story will start. But it'll happen right after you liberate something. So what happened once? This is funny you say that. I don't know if it was caught on the stream. But I was in the air in the middle of a mission shooting bad guys, and it made me get to a certain point that I was actually in the middle of a firefight up in the air, and then all of a sudden it was getting real hazy or something. I was like, did someone like spray something on me? And I was in an airplane in the middle of a mission, and then it pulled me into a cutscene where I was like found on the ground. So yes,
I had that similar kind of thing.
But again, you're talking like you're playing for 8 hours, and this was like
5 times, like I think 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
it happens to you.
That's
so
a little
far.
jarring.
Yeah.
But it's not terrible. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's just something that I wish that after like maybe the liberation, like all of a sudden like a guy would walk in and do that to you or something, like instead of being like in the middle of nowhere. Although it does add that element of like surprise.
Yeah, you don't know when it's going to happen. I was generally confused. Yeah,
the first couple times it was kind of nice, and then I thought it kind of got a little repetitive after a while.
Yeah.
But,
I agree.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
Yep. All right, so moving on. All right, well, it is time for our handheld holla. Yeah. You gotta
carry that out a little bit longer.
No, you gotta leave room for the horns to take over.
That's true. Yeah.
So our handheld holla is a segment where we just give some love to the lovely handhelds among us. Game Boy, Game Gear.
The grays, the blacks, the purples, the yellows.
Yeah.
All the different colored handhelds.
What's the purple? Oh yeah, the GBA.
Indigo purple. Is
Yeah.
it indigo?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. The Atari Lynx.
Lynx is great.
What's the Neo Geo one?
Pocket.
Pocket color.
Yeah, Neo Geo Pocket Color. The Nokia N-Gage. There's a ton.
There's so many.
We're just gonna give them some love.
I need it.
Yeah, these aren't video game book club
high.
picks. These could be random ones. We just are shouting out a couple games. We've all got our picks. I know I've got mine. Michael, what's your pick for the handheld holla this week?
All right, mine is a game for the original Game Boy.
Okay.
It's based off a Nickelodeon show.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it is Ren and Stimpy Space Cadet Adventures.
Yeah.
And
I like Ren and Stimpy, man.
It's one that I personally never had a Game Boy as a kid, but my brother had the Game Boy, so essentially it was mine too.
Okay.
But he had this game.
I didn't have it.
Oh, you didn't have that?
I didn't. I've seen some videos since then, but yeah, tell me about it. Tell me why you picked it.
Yeah, so it's just like an action platformer.
Nice.
But what really makes it stand out for me is it kind of has the actual sound effects from Ren and Stimpy. So you actually get like when you get stuff like he says like happy happy joy joy, and he all those like little phrases. It comes out in the game, which is kind of cool, especially back then. And just being a huge fan of the show. The game, admittingly, is just okay.
Having all those sayings in though, I mean, like the SNES games didn't do that. I mean, they were their own little games type of deal, like Firehouse like Dogs and stuff. So,
it doesn't even make sense, but I think like when you die, he's like, "Oh boy," he does that kind of.
Yeah, that's cool though. That
really so
awesome.
Those little effects kind of made it stand out for me.
Cool.
But yeah, overall, not a bad game. It's Ren and Stimpy.
Cool. Ren and Stimpy for the Game Boy. Is it a cheap game?
Yeah, I think it's like $5.
Boom, I'm picking that up. I used to be the biggest Ren and Stimpy fan, man.
Yeah.
I had like 1 through 45 on the comics. And then I actually had a bed sheets.
I didn't even know there was
posters.
comics.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Huh. I was not aware
I wish
of
I
that.
could find them. I know they're still around in somewhere in my parents' house or my mom's house, or my brother has them, I think. I gotta find them.
You're the guy that they sell it at the garage sale, and you find out later. When some
I'm
guy's
gonna be
haggling,
crushed.
some guy looking for comics. Hey, you guys got any comics? Ren and Stimpy. You got the old Batman. You got the. They run down the list, and it's like, oh yeah, my kiddo Shane. So right.
I'm telling you, man, these bed sheets that I had a special order them from a comic book, and they're like twin size sheets. I want the blanket for it because it was the most comfortable blanket, and it got lost in Manhattan. I moved to an apartment, and we got into a fight and lost all our stuff at the apartment. And I need those. I need that blanket, man.
It's a Ren and Stimpy blanket. I'm losing.
Yes, it's Ren and Stimpy blanket, and it's double sided. So one side's blue.
Listeners, help out Shane.
Dude, I'm not one for begging, but man, if you could find this, I will pay you. I will do anything. Like,
nice.
It's blue on one side and white on the other.
Stains.
Yeah,
okay.
no urine stains. You gotta wash it before you send it.
Nothing sexual.
Man,
I'll do anything.
But yeah, I cannot find those because it was like a mail-in from the comic book. And I used to be the biggest Ren and Stimpy fan. I had all the plushies, like pull.
Yeah. I could see.
Oh, nice.
I could see why it wasn't sold because Ren and Stimpy was a little controversial.
Raunchy.
I could see it. Yeah, it was.
I was surprised. Like Nickelodeon, I guess was on a little edgier take on cartoons then, but their plushies were so cool. You pull like his little. Fur ball, what are those called when the cats get them? The
hairballs.
Hairballs. You pull it and then you do a Sane or like Rin. You would like pull his tongue or something.
Okay, what are you pulling?
No, his belly button. You pull his belly button. So yeah, I used to.
How do you pull a belly button?
Yeah, it's Ren and Stimpy, man.
I don't know.
They did the grossest things, but it was so cool back then.
You guys with your cable, remember I was poor. I had 5 channels.
I didn't even have
and
cable.
actually only 3, and 2 of them were not very good.
They always like show like inside their bodies and stuff, and it was like that was so gross.
Yeah, gross, but it was cool. Like I never got to watch it on cable either. I actually rented the tapes all the time, like the orange.
Really?
Yeah, remember they had the orange tapes?
No, I don't.
Tapes?
I do not. So I mean, I saw a couple here and there, maybe on a sleepover, this or that. But I just remember, wasn't it the guy? Didn't he talk like Ian?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That blooded idiot.
Yeah. I watched that and Doug, which couldn't be 2 more opposite shows.
Yeah, that's very opposite. Yeah, Doug's like very even keel. Like, I don't know if I should do this.
Yeah, exactly. But I liked both of them, so I was all over the place.
Yeah. What's your pick, Shane?
Mine is Battle Unit Xenoth.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of like a shooter. I didn't get a chance to play it. Like,
isn't that on the Game Boy?
What system?
Game Boy. Yeah, sorry, Game Boy. OG Game Boy. Yeah. So black and white. Okay. But you could throw it on the
Game Boy Day.
Yeah. So it's a shooter, which I don't think they had a ton on.
Oh no, you're right. I've heard about this.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about it, and this is why I haven't played it too much because I got it about a month and a half ago from my brother-in-law, and he had all his Game Boy games, and his sisters actually gave them to me, and he's like, "What? You can't give him those." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna take those." I was like, "I'll clean your gutters," and she's like, "Well, those I was giving it to you." I was like, "Well, I'll clean your gutters too." So I popped that in and played it for a little bit, and it was freaking awesome. So nice. It's a shooter. It's got a weird mechanic where you sort of float, and then you sort of float down. But the big thing is this keeping up in the air, and then you shoot people. This really cool game. Cool graphics on it too.
So you have to like stay in the air, kind of like Joust.
Yeah,
like we have to keep like tapping.
You don't keep tapping. You actually sort of hold and charge it, and you sort of float, and then shoot. It's really cool. Really cool graphics for Game Boy. Because normally when you think of Game Boy, you don't think of graphics, but I thought they were pretty cool.
Nice.
What's yours, Mr. Benjamin?
Mine is gonna be a little different pick. I'm going actually with the Nokia N-Gage.
What?
Ooh. Yeah. What? So I've been collecting for this. I
never played an N-Gage.
I picked this up. You're free to play mine sometime. Right. So for people who've never played an N-Gage, it's kind of in between a GBA and like PlayStation, and leaning more towards like a PS1. But without being quite as clunky. Okay, you still have to deal with the screen, but like it'll play like it has Tomb Raider, like the legit first Tomb Raider on it, like the Tomb Raider game.
Now I think about it, yep.
So I think the graphics are great. It's just super. You're never gonna find one of these. So I found mine at the Missouri Game Con.
Yeah, this is the one that looks like a taco, correct?
Yeah, it looks it looks like a taco, and you speak into it. And the first one was designed really poorly, and this was before mobile games. And it's fun to go and look at YouTube videos of this system.
Yeah.
because the YouTube videos are just, that's not, shoot. I know every once in a while we get listeners like, hey, you want to trade games? And a lot of times it's like, I don't have much to trade.
Yeah.
That's big my issue, but oh my, it's region free.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is region free.
Heck yeah.
And it is a game called Ashen. It is exclusive. It was only on the N-Gage, ASHEN. Oh, okay. It is a first-person shooter.
Cool.
Okay. And it is really good. I heard some good reviews. It takes place, you're jumping around time. What I love about this is the enemy types. Okay, the control is really well done. Uh-huh. It is one of those first-person shooters where you don't just get hordes of enemies coming at you. Mm-hmm. You're actually like in a pretty realized, like drawn out world. It's kind of like it looks like a European town, but it's like,
so it's not like stuck in a dungeon, because a lot of those first person shooter, they stick you like in somewhere enclosed.
No, you're outside. You do go inside a little bit, but the enemy types can see you from pretty far away, and you're only usually shooting 1 to 2 enemies at a time.
That's cool.
But they like hop around and they don't stay in one place, and they kind of move around, but they're smart and they adapt, and it's not just they're, let's say, running right at you and you shoot them 5 times and then they do a thing of fall over. Like, they're actually like the AI is really good. And it's just the setting isn't kind of just different. It's kind of got a weird kind of steampunky / like PS2 era, like it's just I don't know, but also kind of like a weird, like one of those Myst games or something like that, where it's just kind of, you're not on this planet, you're not on this time zone, but you still feel like you could be on Earth, except a different dimension or something like that. And I kind of forget like the actual story of how you got there, but it's a ton of fun. It's better than most first-person shooters from that era of, say, like PS2, Xbox, even 360.
It's a lot of those, like to stick you in a building and then have a bunch of enemies come at you.
Yeah.
That's what I always think of PS2 era shooters.
I mean, I just look at it this way. I played it when I popped it in. I played it for like 2 hours straight, 2.5 hours. I want to like keep playing it and keep beating it. Price-wise, it's an N-Gage game, so N-Gage games, really, all of them aren't super expensive, but, some out there, there's random ones that are like 100 or 200. You can get the game. The problem is there's just not many auctions that pop up, so you'll see like a buy it now 40 forever, but then a couple auctions might come up and they'll end at like 15 or something. So I think I spent maybe about 20 on it, which I know is a lot for it, but I was waiting for it, and I'm just like, freaking just go for it. Yep. So my N-Gage collection is getting a little stout. I'm up to like 14 games or something like that. Ooh, so it's got some neat.
How many total games they got on that?
50, 60, 70, something like that.
Oh, wow. More than I thought.
I think maybe in the 50s to 60s.
Okay.
But there's some crazy games. There's one called Glimmerati, which is like dealing with the underground rich person exotic race car game.
Yeah.
But it's only for rich people. So you have all these rich people like talking smack on each other, and all these like 80s bombshell type women. It's just it's really interesting. But it was a game that I was luckily able to play because the screen isn't that big, actually, with Sebastian, my kiddo, right? Because he's 1. Okay, so Bash, I love him to death. I mean, him being 1 right now, he's pointing to stuff. He's so interactive. He's just such a sweet kid. He like hugs everything. He hugs our cats. He hugs us. He hugs everybody goodbye. He's sweeter than anything, and I hate it. I hate it so much because you just like, I'm sure you guys know this because your kids are a little older than mine, but like, I'm kind of okay with just liking him and loving him as much as I do now, because the more I do, the more I feel a little like, gosh, I don't like this strong of a hold on. You know what I mean? Like, I love him, and I'm kind of okay when he starts doing like, he's obviously might be upset about this or that, but he's just such a good kid. I'm just so like, your bond grows with him, and he gets more. When you see him or pick him,
he's gonna start telling you no and
yes, I know. Man. He'll start to get his own 2 or 3 or whatever. But like right now, he's just so
fun time.
Purely amazing. And I know he's gonna have tantrums and but just it's just now that he's getting so interactive. It's just it's funny. Like I don't know. I'm getting real sappy all of a sudden. It's just it's just really neat now that he's able to like put 2 and 2 together. Like he can't talk. My wife and I have this running joke. Like we call it when he does something kind of dumb. We just he's so advanced. He's thinking, like when he ran real forward and just kind of fell and face planted. Yeah, he was just really thinking about the struggle going on now with like the climate changes. We just joke
pumping it up. Yeah,
we just joke around. But little stuff where I was giving him these. He loves these flashcards, but he only like looks. He'll hand me a book. I'll open to the first page, and then he'll like look away and hand me another book. He's not into books, but he'll hand me these flashcards, and I'll put two, and he'll like pull them out, and he'll just look at them real quick and throw them over his shoulder. Look at them, throw them over his shoulder. But then he pulled out this little baby Dalmatian, and then tapped it on my dog right next to him. And just like so he's associating. And I was like, oh my god, he's associating. So then I was like, I took a blue. The next slide was blue, and then he had this toy that was blue, and I said blue and blue. And then like he can't talk to me yet, but then I told him, okay, something that's red. And he had a red thing, and then he tapped it closer to a red toy. And it's not like instant, but it was just like this little like
that moment.
He's just like he's getting it, and it's just like, oh my gosh. And he knows I could see in his eyes, he knows that he wants to communicate with us. He knows that what we're saying is something he'll eventually know, because then he just studies a little more. When you say something slower, you say that one's mama, and then you look at him and then he studies whatever you said for about 4 or 5 seconds. You're just like, oh my gosh, you're just so much better than me. Anyway, I digress. So it's a great system to play with kids, because that kid's not interested in that thing. Unlike a tablet or the Switch that looks like a toy, he's just saying like, "Oh, what's that stupid thing? It doesn't even look like a phone." He wants to grab your phone. That's for sure. But Ashen for the Nokia N-Gage. If you're a random listener out there that has the N-Gage, message me, email me, let's talk, because I doubt you exist. But it is besides just, people know I'm a weird collector. It's a great little system. Nice. And the control is great. So what's neat about a phone, just FYI with the Nokia N-Gage, there's so many buttons there, right? So you got all the face buttons, plus you got the numbers to call people, because it's supposed to be a dang phone. Yeah. So you have...
That probably helps with menu systems and stuff like that.
And you've only got a very small, like, not cursor, what am I thinking? Like, directional pad thing. Mm-hmm. And when you look at this thing, saying, I'm about to play a first-person shooter, no way. It does it better than a freaking 64 does. And for whatever reason, all the buttons, it was designed really well. Mm-hmm. And God love you. If you know any, shout out, tweet this out, this episode, to any N-Gage former developers, because if you look on YouTube, look at old like N-Gage developer interviews. Oh, it's gold. It's gold stuff. Like from the late 90s, of people talking about like, oh, we're making this game, it's only going to be on the N-Gage, and they're talking about all the cool stuff they're about to do, and graphics and this and that. You're like, oh my god, this system is just going to bomb. And it bombed hard.
Nokia was on fire for a while.
Yeah, it was, man. Snake, the old school, first Nokia, man.
Faceplate.
Gosh.
Those faceplates.
Those phones.
Faceplates. Fire, man.
Those phones. Yeah. I remember I had one that was like $100 bills or whatever. Just look,
$100 bills. Clip it on the side right there. You get the little kit.
I was excited when I got my Kansas City Chiefs one.
Oh, I bet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Style and profiling.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, anyway, those are our handheld hollows. Give us an email. Let us know. videogamedads@yahoo.com. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/videogamedads. Let us know some handheld hollows. Anyway, let's move on to our next segment.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
All right, and for a segment, getting near the end of our show, we were going to discuss our favorite things. We were kind of like, we want to start, our 5 favorite things.
In our collection.
Yeah, in our collection. Yeah. So these aren't our 5 most expensive things, but these are just kind of random things maybe you guys are interested in. They could be expensive,
they could not be.
Yeah, that are kind of in our collection. Just they could be loosely related to gaming, video gaming specifically, but kind of in our collection of toys, so to speak, that we really like and why we like them. And I thought that'd be fun to kind of go round robin and say, hey, what are our 5 things that in a fire we were randomly able to fire? Yeah. Which... My 5 things don't really make sense. I know you guys know one of mine weighs a lot, so that's not going to really happen. But anyway, our 5 favorite things, and just a little quick thing we came up with from our collections. Let's go with Michael. Michael, what's number 1?
All right. The first thing that I was going to talk about, it's actually just a game. It's actually on Super Nintendo. It's a game I really like. Castlevania Dracula X.
Always wanted that game.
Yeah, it's a game that I played and I really enjoyed it.
Sorry, devil's advocate. I'm thinking. I hope number 2 is an actual SNES because how are you going to play it? I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, and I kind of picked it because some of these are a little bit harder to replace. Like kind of run out in the fire. I mean, obviously, I'm going to want my Mario 3, or whatever. But
you can always get that back.
I can always get that back if I'm running. If there's a fire, I'm leaving Mario 3. Sure. Sorry. But I actually got it for really inexpensive, and I really didn't know anything about it because I got it like 5 years ago, a lot before kind of retro gaming was kind of picking up.
Nice, good call.
And I kind of went back and played it a few years ago, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's something I've kind of gone back and played about every year.
Is it on? Since I've had it. Is it randomly on like the SNES Classic or anything?
It is not on the Classic.
I had a chance to freaking get that at I think Missouri.
I think it's Castlevania 4 is on the Classic.
Yeah,
not the Dracula X.
Yeah, I had a chance to get Dracula X at the Missouri Game Con for I think a good price. Do you remember that? And I almost picked it up just blindly.
I would have told you to get it.
How much?
I've been searching for that thing
like
forever.
150, maybe 200.
It was 75.
75. Yep.
Because I heard it was whatever. But he was like, "Oh, it doesn't have the box," and I was like, I feel like that's a good price. And I think. Anyway, I digress. I didn't grab it, darn it. Maybe it'll be there next year. Yeah. But anyway, Michael, so you just love that game.
Yeah, I just really enjoy it, and I got it for a good deal. And actually, like a kind of a local collector, is somebody who I got it from a long time ago, and I've continued to be friends with them. It was kind of like our first deal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How sweet. You always remember that. You seal it with a kiss.
Yeah.
Friendship bracelets forever.
We send each other anniversary cards every year.
You remember
on this date.
Yeah. Dracula X. XXX. O.
Little kissy, big kissy.
Yeah. So, what's your first one, Shane?
I'm going to go with, actually I got from Mr. Benjamin, and it's 2 things, so I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I got the Atari Lynx box from him, and most recently I picked up, it's not really, game related, but the Uno cards. It was some Uno cards that have Mario Brothers on them, and we play the heck out of it. She asked for it all the time, my daughter Lexi, and we have so much fun playing, and it's great. And the Atari Lynx box, I don't know, we barely knew.
It looks sweet.
Yeah, it looks sweet. It's beat up, but he just gave it to me out of the kindness of his heart, and this is when I really started opening up to other collectors and sort of doing the same thing of like, hey, do you want a free poster? Hey, do you want this? Do you want this? I don't need it, and I don't want to put it on eBay. And Ben, when we first met, he gave that to me, I always appreciate it, and I've always displayed it, and I plan on not getting rid of it. So
and I love that you've kept it. Like I remember I got that when I got my Atari Lynx. I got rid of my Atari Lynx years ago, and I remember I sold it, to my grandma.
I didn't even know what Atari Lynx was, but I was like, this is so cool, man.
Yeah.
I actually did have the system, and it's still broken, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah, and I kept it for years, but I remember I kept it, but I always kept it like in a box and I always felt like I kept it for some reason, but then at the end of the day, I wasn't really appreciating it. And I saw you were like, whoa, you got the box. I was like, well, I just keep my old football.
Yeah, you had your football helmets in there.
Yeah, those little football helmets that you could get in the quarter machine. I used to collect those all the time, right? And I used to ask my mom after we go, and she'd give me like either 25 or 50 cents, and then I just so that was just where the box that I kept them in. And I think you guys kind of know, and I can tell listeners, like I'm not a huge fan of cardboard, kind of for some personal reasons, because I grew up in kind of a house where like we'd keep stuff that we didn't need to keep, and it was kind of a hoarder house and stuff. So cardboard to me is like, not I feel like no, it's not. But for some reason I randomly kept a few game boxes here and there, so I'm happy that's one of your favorite things. And the Uno thing too, that was another thing I got. I hadn't even opened, and I was happy to give it to you because it was a late night. It was like a deal where it was one of those late night deals where it was like half the price it should have been. I was like, oh, that's Uno Mario. I'm going to grab it. And then I got it, and I was like,
what am I going to do?
Well, I've got Uno Attack already. I'll just put it in my game room. And then I was like, oh, man, Shane would be perfect. I got another 5 years.
I broke it out, and actually Lexi seen it, and we actually played
the snot out of it. Awesome.
Oh my gosh, we love it.
Awesome. Cool.
What is yours, Mr. Benjamin?
Let's see. I got to open my phone now. It goes black. I don't have a specific order. I'll go.
I don't either.
All of ours, I think, are
okay.
Just
so 2 of my things are pretty big. So this first thing, huge. It's a Dreamcast kiosk. Okay.
Yep.
So that's going to be one of my favorites because Dreamcast is my favorite system of all time. I got the kiosk, thank God, in 2006 before
really
things went crazy. And I actually even got it on eBay and it shipped to me I can say now I have the video. So there's a video on YouTube. I was maybe the second video of ever putting a Dreamcast kiosk on. But if you search videos on YouTube for Dreamcast kiosk, there's now 60 of them, 70, 100.
Yeah,
and I'm not even near the top because it's so old and the video is so crunchy. And as it's gotten, what do I say, not re-uploaded? Because when YouTube goes through a progression, they have to re-upload the old videos. And every time they do, all the darker scenes look darker. So it's not in HD or anything. And so a lot of the video looks a little dark. You could still find it. It's called my favorite. It's called something like my favorite toy, my Dreamcast kiosk, my favorite thing, or something. I'm just in my room talking about it. And this is again even retro video game stuff. It was Pete. It was Pete Dorr, Adam Karolik, and then nobody else. There's some others, but it was just the early YouTubers, and it was. I wish I would have made an account. Even if I upload one video a month, I would have probably been enough to be putting you out to But anyway, it was just funny because even in that video I say, if people want to do reviews, I'm thinking about doing little 10-minute reviews of all my games. And what's funny about that is that's what people do now, they continue the first 30 minutes or quick looks, things like that. I you could S or get off the pot, I didn't do it, but I was thinking about it at the time. And of course now with kids and everything, you don't really have time to do any of that stuff. But I talk about the console there. I ended up getting, I could say it now because it doesn't matter. I think I paid shipped all told about $250-$260.
Great deal. Yep.
Yeah. For a kiosk.
Awesome.
And it was perfect shape. It's got all the front glass part. It just needed the TV, which of course you can just kind of put a TV in there.
Toshiba. Yep.
Yeah. So I love that thing. That is definitely one of my favorite things. Michael, what's yours next?
Number two. Mine is actually going to be my Nintendo Power Collection.
Nice.
Yeah, I currently have 1 through 100, and it's kind of I guess a middle of N64. I think I'm missing some N64 or some, but that's pretty much all I really wanted.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just something my mom would never get me that subscription as a kid, so I used to hound her all the time at the grocery stores, to get one.
Just get one at each time.
Exactly.
And then
so
it's $6.
Yeah, and I probably only bought 5 or 10 of them through my lifetime. And I just think they're real cool. It's just to kind of take a step back in time when you look at them.
Oh yeah. I mean, we did a whole episode. I mean, a big segment to an episode.
About it, yeah.
Oh yeah, and even just the posters inside are cool. I mean, it's hard for me not to tear out all these posters and line them up against my wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just something I really enjoy looking at every now and then. So
yeah, you got a really cool one that has a Virtual Boy.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
In there. That one's awesome.
It's my favorite volume, actually. Actually, I think I need to show Ben that.
Yeah.
But since you like the VR stuff,
yeah.
But this is a 3D. Yeah, I think volume 75. It came with a pair of 3D glasses, and I'm not talking about those red and blue ones that really distorted everything. These are clear, kind of like when you go to the regular movie theater now. And it actually worked really well.
Dude.
So I'll have to show you, Ben.
Yeah, show me.
Yeah. That, man, for
Show me. Cool.
So yeah, that's my second one. What do you got
I'm
next?
going to go with I'm going to ride off Ben's coattails here. My Sega Dreamcast kiosk.
Yeah. It's good enough to be in there twice.
Yeah. I picked that up from Mr. Adam from the podcast. He was gracious enough to trade, and not a lot of people probably would have done that trade, tell you the truth, just because it was a bunch of randomness, and luckily I have a bunch of randomness in my collection, and he also likes randomness, so it worked out really well, and I was able to repay him back too, also with the Bonk's Adventures.
I
don't think a lot of people would have done that trade, so I think we sort of repaid each other back, and it worked out really well, and that is probably one of my favorite kiosks, and I really appreciate him doing that, and one of those things that will be very, very hard to get rid of. So,
yeah. Awesome. And you have a lot of kiosks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully,
that's my top 3 kiosks.
Hopefully next episode you're working a deal right now. We won't give away any spoilers, but maybe just getting your nipples cut in glass out there, listeners. That's what we're gonna try.
I'm a little excited about it. It's got a little drive to go get it, but hopefully I might be talking about another kiosk.
Yeah, and the one, just again, no spoilers really, but it's gonna be a different one.
Yes, different one. Very different.
And
not
I
very
like
exciting.
different.
Yeah, it's not very exciting looking one, but it's
Dude,
cool.
I want
but
it.
It's so different.
I want it.
Yes.
I want it.
Yeah,
I want it.
It's so different. So
yeah, it's super different. Okay, good.
What's your second one, Ben?
My second one is going to be Nintendo Game & Watch Tropical Fish.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
you were looking at forever.
This thing, it's a little the Game & Watches, before Nintendo actually made consoles, they made little Game & Watches.
Yep.
And they're called Game & Watch because back then a lot of people did not have digital watches because they weren't a thing and actually kept time.
Yep.
And people didn't really have, things that could keep time unless they were plugged in and non-portable, or they actually had like a wristwatch. So it's just funny when people say, why do they call it a Game & Watch? It's like, oh, it literally just tells you time. It's a little flat handheld that now the DSs are kind of modeled after. They had some Game & Watches that were clamshell folding.
Yep.
But this is one of the early ones, and it's called Tropical Fish. It's orange. You can kind of Google it. It's a very simple game. You're just moving fish from one side to another, hoping they don't fall. Much like that Mario Parachute, I think it's game, or the one where you're saving people from a fire and bouncing them from a burning fire over. Same kind of thing. This was my first video game ever. I remember as a kid, I was like 3 years old. I had it when I was in Switzerland, and I remember somehow it came over with me here, and I had it up until I think I was 7 or 8, and something happened to it. I don't know where it went, if I gave it as a trade for something stupid or this or that. Most of the time, I kind of remember what happened to games like that, because I don't feel like that was...
They're pretty small, so you
I almost feel like
or got stolen.
Well,
or something,
and that usually wasn't a thing with me. It was probably something like maybe my neighbor had a garage sale, and I was just looking at stuff to get rid of.
Yeah.
And anything that was turned to money, even if I sold that for $2, I would have sold it for $1 or whatever, just being a dumb kid. And I just remembered it fondly, and unfortunately, it was one of the more expensive Game & Watches. So I finally was able to get that back in my collection, and it's definitely, I just look back at it fondly as far as all the feels, being as young as I could remember, just loving that thing and playing it over and over because you didn't have anything else to do. Yeah. There's nothing like it. And so it just instantly takes me back 30 years. It's just so cool. So, that is one of my favorite things. Next.
Number 3.
Yeah, no particular order, I guess.
Yeah,
but
no particular order, but it's number
3. My third thing is kind of a group of systems, but it's my fantastic N64 collection.
Oh, you got one of those, huh?
I don't know what it is, but those like bright, vivid colors I really like. I have them all. I mean, I don't know if you can even consider the gold one. I don't have the gold system, but like the watermelon, the grape, the
smoke,
the
fire.
Green. Yeah,
is it called fire? What is it called? What's
watermelon?
the orange?
Watermelon.
No, orange.
I think it's fire orange.
Is it fire orange?
Yeah. Okay. I really like the orange one. That's the one I have set up actually in my room.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But yeah, I just really enjoy them. My wife actually really likes them. She doesn't like video games a whole lot. She actually thinks they're pretty, which is nice. Cool. So I can display them out, and she's accepted.
Those look good on a wall or something.
And that's actually what I'm thinking about doing is putting them up on the wall, because right now they're kind of on the floor, like lined up.
You don't have those CIB or anything like that, do you? That would be really expensive.
No, I do have the jungle green one complete in the box.
Yep.
I got lucky like 5 years ago, and guy said he had a jungle green system for $40, so I said sure, I'll take it, and I showed up and it was complete in the box.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
so bonus.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, my third one is gonna be Resident Evil Long Box. I moved a lot as a child, and I had none of my collection from when I was a kid, and randomly my dad had in Resident Evil. The first one is one of my favorite games. I really enjoy it. And he randomly had that in his sock drawer. And he probably moved about 100 times throughout when I was a kid. So he had that in there. And it was really good shape. The disc was beat. I had to get a different disc. It was fried. But the inside, I just remember getting that game and the inside insert, just amazing. And that one I might be buried with. I don't know. That I just always think of that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I used to be a huge, actually, now that I go back and think about it, I had probably like the first 20 or 30 long box games when I was a kid come out, and I had all those. And that was my favorite one to look at just because it was so interesting. And the manual was cool too because it had like Kenny and all the different characters that even though they weren't really in it because they're all dead and zombies, but it was really neat. So that's a really good one.
You're making me want to get, so for Sega Saturn, you guys know I was able to get my old Sega Saturn from Chris who was on the show. Because I sold it to him, he randomly still had it, and I bought it back. One of the games that wasn't there, I think only one or two weren't. One of them was Resident Evil for the Saturn, the long box one. And I totally want to get that again, but it's an expensive game.
If you could find the front cover art, you could have my back cover art. I got a back cover art with the disc. The disc is Roach, but I display it like I actually got it. So you could have the back cover art for free if you find the front,
disc in the front.
The disc in the front. That's the only way I'll give it to you, though. Okay?
Fine, yeah. I have trouble piecemealing stuff, but now that I know that, I will remember that. Okay, and cool. I will try to find it. Sweet.
What's your third?
Awesome. So yeah, my next one, it's kind of, well, this one's not tough. It's going to be, and this is a heavy one, my Jurassic Park pinball.
Yeah. You ain't carrying that out of the fire.
No, I'm not. But it's the one thing.
Call me up real quick. We'll try to get it out of here.
I mean, for my Ninja Turtles pinball and even my Ninja Turtles and all my arcades and stuff, it's just, I remember being at Minsky's Pizza Joint here in Kansas City. And I remember just going in there, and it was great because it was in kind of the party room. So Minsky's had a main room, and then it had a room around the corner. And it was in a room where like a lot of people didn't sit, so you can go and like play it and just look at it. And and it was just kind of, and it was always in good shape. So
surprisingly,
when I got it, luckily it was, I think, eBay, and it was someone who was close. So I always used to look up close eBay sellers that would also have like pinballs. And then finally one popped up. It was in great shape. It was actually in a German nightclub. So they made. If you look at the front of it, it actually, the coins don't take quarters; they take Deutschmarks.
Oh, really?
Which again, Deutschmarks aren't even exist now. They're euros. Nerd alert. But
rare.
I know. Well, they made 7,000 of them, so you got to figure about 1,000 to 2,000 went overseas. And how many of them think we went overseas? And now I'm really thinking about it. And make it back.
Yeah.
So out of 7,000, probably half of them are toast. Half of those are in bad shape. So really, you got to think. Really great shape. Jurassic Park pinballs, maybe 1,000 of them or something.
Yeah,
I worked.
For sure.
I worked on the side. I touched up the paint and all this other stuff, and I have dumb little things on top of it. And a bunch of stuff around. And of course, awesome. Jurassic Park's my favorite movie. So my only thing though about it being a favorite thing is I almost feel like I love playing it, but part of me is like, every time I play it, I'm like, I don't want to break anything or something like that. That's part of,
it'll nag you.
Well, that's part of owning a pinball is like maintenance. Unfortunately, there's a good maintenance guy here. Yeah, but definitely one of my favorite things. I just love looking at it. Love the heck out of it. That's one of my favorite things. Next, Michael.
Number 4.
The next thing I'm going to go with is something that I didn't have as a kid, but a friend did, and I just never really got to play it. So when I finally got it, I was pretty excited, and that is actually the Virtual Boy.
Oh, cool.
Nice. It's something, I had a extremely well-off friend who lived in a mansion. And I used to go over there and hang out, and one day I went over there, and he had that new Virtual Boy.
Nice.
And I remember I sat there for 2 hours while he stared at it, and I just hung out.
Oh, you mean when he was playing?
Yeah, he would play it, and then at the end, like, he let me play it for like 10 minutes, and then I had to go, like, time for dinner or whatever.
That's hilarious. And so, you can't see. That was the fun thing. I remember, like, you couldn't. Your friends can't.
If you came over with a friend, you just sat there. Yeah. So that was garbage. And so I never got to play it, and maybe I played Mario Tennis for like 2 minutes or whatever. And so when I finally got it, I got to actually check it out. And I know it's not the greatest thing, but
I like it.
Just I think it's got very solid games for what it is. Man.
Yeah,
it's a good console.
Exactly, and so it just has a lot of nostalgia for me for that reason.
Sweet, well, sweet.
Mine. The next one is my Wii U kiosk. I I actually made a trip of it. Me and my mom went up to my brother's because he's working at GameStop at the time, and he held it back for me, and without his permission, he doesn't work there anymore, so I could say all this stuff now. He's supposed to cut all the cords, supposed to cut everything, and it was fine to get rid of the TV and all the other things, but he was like, there's no way I'm doing this. My brother collects. He's going to have this, and he held it back for me. And
the Nintendo rep said, just don't tell me, right?
Yeah, he said, just don't tell anybody, and so he did that, and me and my mom made a trip of it, because I was like, I have to go get this, Beth, and told my wife, and she's, go get it. So we went up there, and we stayed the night, and picked it up the next morning, left the next morning, but we made a nice little trip out of it, and just remembering hanging out with my mom, and I thought that was pretty neat, so, and it's awesome. So it's fully 100% complete. I mean, there's not one thing missing, and it's in good shape.
Complete Wii U kiosk, and the guy.
A lot of my kiosks aren't complete. So
most in existence aren't. You know?
Exactly. And this one's 100%, and it came from my brother, which is freaking.
And the
awesome.
big kiosk collector in St. Louis. What's his name again?
Oh man, I forget his name, but yeah, he's a huge kiosk collector, and he's always asking me about it. He's like, "What do you want to trade?" And I said, "Nothing. There's nothing that you could come up with." I mean, he's even offered me Super Nintendo stuff, the Super Nintendo kiosk, and I just won't do it. I mean, Super Nintendo one's worth more, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I know. It's and honestly, it's HD. I have the Wii U kiosk too, not complete. Like I had to get the system and everything, but I like that I can hook up other systems to it and stuff.
And I don't even use the demo unit because you can't actually play disc or anything. But I just put my black one in there, and it works great.
Yeah.
And my son and my daughter, my son really plays it. We probably go down there twice throughout the day, every day. And he picks out a random game.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I really like it too.
Yeah, they could play it. And you don't have to
give him that
worry about
Fisher
it.
Price handheld thing, the pad. I call it the Fisher Price one because it's comical on how big it is.
But the VTech.
Yeah, so he loves it. So that's another reason why.
That's awesome.
Can't get rid of
yeah,
it.
because the Super Nintendo one I feel is just so fragile too. You'd have to make sure no kids play with that sucker.
Yeah, it'd be more one of those things just sort of looking at, and the TV's so special, and if it burns
the
out,
TV.
I would never get it fixed because I can't afford that.
That's the thing about the Super. There was another one that you and Adam were going for, I think in St. Louis too. For every reason, they've got better
St.
kiosks.
Louis is like the mecca
kiosk
right now.
I know, we got some buddies there, so we might have to.
Yeah.
I always forget,
buddy.
like, hey, cool, awesome.
What's yours, Mr. Benjamin? Four.
So number 4 for me, it's funny for a guy who doesn't like boxes. My original Game Boy. I have the box from 1989.
Nice.
So we're going on, how many years is that? It's almost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That's
28 years.
Old box, man.
So the Game Boy was like my first, I guess, console, I guess, because I got that before the regular NES, just right before. But I love my Game Boy. I got it with Tetris, got it with Follow the Foot Clan. And for whatever reason, I kept that box because I like the look of it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Rarely do I'm not a big, I always think the
Tron
system.
looking one, right?
Yeah, I always think the system looks better. Like you take a Super Nintendo box, anything, I think the system looks better than the box. So I always figure, why have it in there? Have the system be there. But this is one where I think the opposite is true, where it's just like it looked futuristic. You have these like futuristic looking little hands holding it, and
You're very right on that.
Yeah, I still have my my stereo speaker headphones in there, still in there, because why would you use those, right? So they're still
blue
bundled
and
up.
orange, right? Blue
Yeah,
on
the
one side, orange on the other.
styrofoam's all in there. There's one little chunk popped out, and I remember when I was a kid, I remember where I was when I popped that out. I remember just playing with styrofoam. I started to bend it, and it popped, and I said, well, maybe I shouldn't break this. I just, as a kid, right? It's styrofoam. Yeah. It's like, who gives a crap? I don't think I'm 30 and on a podcast talking about this later.
No.
But I just thought, no, I'm gonna hold on to this. So for whatever reason, I kept it, and now I displayed on my funny little thing.
I wish I had more of that kind of stuff, man.
I don't have much, but that's one where
those are the ones, man.
Yeah. I just
it's one of the few. I actually got rid of the system. When I was a kid, we had a garage sale, and I got rid of all my Nintendo NES stuff. And I specifically wait till you hear what I bought with the money. I bought a JVC boombox, CD players. I mean, that's pretty big back then. You get a boombox and rock that. I mean,
what happened to the boombox?
It's actually still in my parent's basement.
Okay.
It still works technically. I mean, it's kind of crazy that it still works, but double cassette players on there. Yeah,
nice.
You don't want to display that because it brings up bad memories.
Nah, all those games. I never actually had any like really rare games when I was a kid. I had like all real popular games, so nothing's really been hard to replace.
Yeah.
But so I did sell all the system and everything, but in my parents' basement they actually kept the NES Deluxe set box.
Cool.
So like getting a new system was no problem. Rob was a little bit tougher to find, but I was able to kind of piece it back together from my original box, and it just is something that's in my game room right now that I look at and I just know that I've always had. And
it's just cool. It's the OG one,
exactly. So
that's really
it's kind of my last item there.
My last one is I'm going kiosk heavy, but
that's fine. That's your favorite things, man.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to collect for right now. But my Amiibo kiosk. I also got this for my brother, but the sentimental value comes from my daughter Lexi. We used to, when these things when Amiibos first came out, we used to have to wait in line, and I would drag her out, unfortunately, and we would wait in line and get them, and she was a trooper and was never bad. She's just such a great kid. She'd always be just super fine with it, but then her payoff, I think, is to actually tap on the screen of the kiosk and go through all the characters and everything, and I would spend the time, and we spend about 15-20 minutes every time and press on them. So
that's real cool.
And also on top of that, my Amiibos, those are probably, I don't know what I'm going to do with those when it comes time to do whatever you need to do with them when you get older, but I don't know how I'm going to get rid of those. I don't know. And I also have something in the works that's really, really special, and there will be a video and everything, but I'm not going to say anything.
Is it Amiibo related?
It's Amiibo related, so this one's really special to my heart, so it's just going to add to my Amiibo craziness and stuff, so, but yeah, that one I don't know how I'll ever get rid of.
Nice. What's your last one, Ben?
Well, mine's not going to be as prolific, I think, as that one. No, it's good. Part of me was thinking, too, like, my Disney Infinity collection, but unfortunately, like I can't find a kiosk. Keep eyes open, anybody. If anybody had the Disney Infinity kiosk, there was one, it was funny, I searched, I think I said maybe in the last episode, I, messaged a guy, I was like, hey, do you still have this? He was like, how did you find this? Because I sold these, 4 years ago. I was like, what? How'd you do that? Well, because Google search, you can find old eBay things. He evidently had a bunch of them. Yeah, it was a cached thing. Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, I'd love to get the kiosk because I have the complete collection of 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0.
Yep.
But that's not going to be it. Again, it's a little different. It's something I just recently picked up, but I don't know. I just really like it. It's my PS3 autographed Kevin Butler poster. Cool. I have the complete PlayStation 3 collection, which wows nobody except a select few that I love
that's awesome.
Near and dear, in all different continents all over the globe. I've said it before. I just love that. I've traded with all these just every country outside of Antarctica. I've traded PS3 games, and I love the group of guys that I'm still currently doing it. Yeah, one of them, TJ Beam, shout out to him. He's on YouTube.
Shout out.
Yeah, Australian collector. We trade a lot. He's got some fun videos out there. He's a huge. He has a PS3. Sorry, I won't get too much. He has a PS3 kiosk, and the PS3 kiosks overseas are so much cooler than the ones here. I still want.
Stuff,
those are the big things. I'd love to have an N-Gage kiosk or a PS3 kiosk, but the ones overseas are just built like a tank. They're
Did
huge.
they make an N-Gage kiosk?
Sure did.
Okay.
Yeah, they sure did. Yeah. It's like the size of the other handheld ones, like PSP. Gotcha. They're kind of a tabletop station, that kind of thing. But yeah, they're real cool. But it is my PS3 autographed Kevin Butler
nice. That's cool,
poster, limited of whatever it was, 500.
And who is Kevin Butler? So then people that don't know.
Yeah, so Kevin Butler, who his real name escapes me. No, wait, it's Jerry Lambert. So he's still does some commercials, some movie work, things like that, acting stuff here and there. But that persona, that whole thing, taking a system, which $1 billion company, right, and taking a system, with obviously the help of a lot of, ad makers, things like that. But I mean, he's still the personality that drove it, right? You can't have the lead of the ship.
Yep.
taking a system that was
Which that's
behind
a
in
take
sales.
Of a lot of people at how they did that too, and like a marketing wise for a video game system that's different.
Yeah, because PS3 was a lot of crying babies and overblown prices, and the 360 was out to a commanding lead, and after that came out, the PS3 outbeat it in sales like almost 3-1 or whatever, so it ended up splitting the console generation. But it was just kind of like, we've got these games, haha, funny, and there's a lot of innuendo in them. Yeah. They were like some of them were 15 funny. Seconds long and just like laugh out loud funny. There's videos 45 minutes, and you just like straight of all the commercials put together. Best ad campaign in video game history, bar none. I don't care what you say.
It right here.
I don't care. But it's great because I have an autographed poster that was like a limited edition thing that I got for like next to nothing on the old eBay. So I love that thing. It's super stupid. Fits great into my video game collection. Awesome. But yeah, love that guy. So very shout out to him. So that's the last of my favorite things, huh?
Yep, last of it.
All right. So tell us some of your 5 favorite things. We'll probably do this again.
Yeah, post on our Facebook page.
Yeah, our favorite once.
There might be some different segments coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure Adam's favorite thing. I have no idea what those are going to be.
Yeah,
I know.
You know what I mean?
After that killer collection, check out YouTube.
Yeah,
man, he's got a lot right now.
So anyway, we've been saying this. We're a little behind. I wanted to quickly shout out some reviews. If you give us a reviews on iTunes or anywhere really, and just tell us you sent a review, we'll read it, good or bad. But we'd love 5-star reviews. Help us be seen. We are an amateur, podcast. We do this out of our own time, whatever.
Except for that
we don't
advertising money we get from Sunny D.
Sunny D, yeah. But in all honesty, we get a lot of our joy from your interactions with you guys. So we try our best to kind of keep up with shouting you guys out and putting stuff out there. So any email shout outs or anything like that, or I won't have, but I at least have our few last iTunes reviews. So I'm going to be truthful in what we said before and pull those up. And
I just want to tell you, Ben, our advertiser last week, Toys R Us, their check bounced.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So sorry about that.
Man, my Ferrari.
That explains a lot. Hey, are they officially like closed? Do you guys know?
No, the stores are still open. They're only at like 20 to 30% right now. So
they're taking their sweet time.
Yeah, I'm waiting until 50%. I first went in, it was 10%, and then I went in last Sunday, and it was 30. And
okay, because they actually start to go around 30 to 40, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, it's
when you get to 80, there's still a couple cool things, but it's just.
But the problem is like they are already like 20 to 30% higher than everyone else. So that 30% is kind of like okay.
But it's crazy. My wife said that there's tons of people rolling in and out of that.
It is so busy. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, well, people would just get deals and not know, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
it's mass chaos right now with them because like kiosk and stuff. I bugged the heck out of a lady and she's like, "Oh, you're number 1 on the list." So I was like, "Oh yeah, Nintendo Switch kiosk coming."
Oh,
wrong. Rep's taking it.
Oh,
but then it varies from each store what they're taking out, what they're taking. So,
jeez, I don't live close to one, so guys, look out for stuff I would like. Let me know.
Yeah, last Sunday it was 15% off all video games.
Happened, so I'm not going in there no more. Bye bye, Toys R Us.
Well, anyway, let's get some iTunes reviews on here. So, I don't think we've read these. Like some of these are from like November. So, it's a 5-star review from Nerdy Nick 91. Do you know if we?
I don't remember that one.
They're pretty darn knowledgeable in regards to retro gaming! Exclamation point. They're humble, cool, and fun dudes with good hearts. Episodes are long, which is great for traveling, work, gym, etc. My only negative. Okay, it's fine. Negative. My only negative is they could use some more enthusiasm in their voices. A bit too monotone. What's funny is he says my only negative is use some more enthusiasm in their voices. Exclamation point. A bit too monotone. Exclamation point. So he really wants to.
We need to jazz it up. All right.
I always feel kind of like
I'll drink some Sunny D before next episode. Don't get jacked.
I know. It's like I feel like monotone's more like Bueller. Yeah.
Sometimes that might happen to us. I mean, we got a lot of kids between us. All right?
Yeah, we do, man. We'll try to spice it up. But yeah, maybe. We're just not as young as we used to. Well, also Nerdy Nick 91. You are a little younger, so that he'd be in his 20s still. So we're jealous.
A little young buck.
Yeah, we're a little jealous.
A little whippersnapper.
I know. The monotone comes in your 30s. So our next one is
back here.
titled like hanging out with your friends. Like hanging out with your friends. like hanging out with your friends, question mark? I turned that into a question. No, it's like hanging out with your friends from Sojourner Moon. Sojourner, Sojourner.
Soldier Moon?
No. But there's an NER.
Oh, okay.
Sojourner Moon. I'm not a dad. I don't even like kids. Nice. Huh? But this podcast feels like hanging out with some old friends from school. The dad talk is actually pretty well done since it's real and not forced.
Yeah.
The podcast focuses on retro with a good mix of current topics as well. These three guys are awesome, nice, and the sort of folks you'd hang out with on the weekend. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be, but half the fun is remembering how awesome these games were when growing up, even if they weren't. Sorry. I'm reading this wrong. Is remembering how awesome these games were when we were growing up, even if they weren't. Oh, I get it. Yeah, even if the games weren't that great. Yeah,
Friday
I got you. Yeah,
perfect example.
They have segments covering handhelds. Hey, that's the first time someone's shouted that out. No one ever acknowledges our handheld thing. So yay, good. That's a product of my whatever. I'm just like, God, handhelds, because we only had one book club so far suggestion for handhelds. So I'm glad someone appreciates that. Good book club style reviews and good listener suggestions. Industry news, general discussion about collecting. These guys are knowledgeable, but not over the top. Thank you. We keep it monotone here and reach out like so many other video game collectors. All around good, clean fun for 2 hours. Look forward to every couple weeks. Thanks, Soldier Moon.
Thank you. Thank you. We're trying hard. People. Yeah. Sorry, miss everyone.
Next one is this one's late February. Where are your sponsors? 5-star review. This is definitely not a name. It looks like you just made this up to give us a review. GGDXHHFCHG. Thank you.
Who did this?
Thank you.
Which one, Michael?
Thank you, random
you
letters. I didn't know. I didn't do this.
I don't have enough time to do that.
Great podcast, great people, clean, fun, very entertaining. They have hit a market that no one else has. I don't know why companies have not been sending these guys more products to review or sponsoring them. Keep it up, guys. You're doing great work. This does feel like a mom.
I agree.
Yeah, we agree.
I agree
100%.
too. It does feel like a mom review. Which one of your moms would do that?
My mom barely could work.
One of those like, you guys should have sponsors. Yeah,
you guys are big time.
Yeah,
that was the first question my dad asked: is how much money are you making off this?
Yeah, right.
We
I just
are
laughed.
currently in the hole.
Well, we also make some choices here and there.
Yes.
That's true, because we like to keep things. I don't know, something about when you're making content like this, you're creating. You're in control of what you create.
Yes,
which is priceless. Right? Yep. We aren't told what to do. We can mess things up here and there. We can switch things around. We can cover. That's what keeps it fun.
Yeah, and I also think that a lot of times when we miss a week or something, what I tell everybody. I mean, a lot of Ben and Adam sort of get worked up. Is like, we got to get this episode pumped out, and I always tell them, family first. This is what we got to do first. Our family is always first. Yeah. Our fans will understand, and if they don't, I don't know what to say. Yeah. I totally get it. And it's like we've all had for me since November specifically, I've just had a hard time with a lot. It's gotten a little better now. Recently, I just kind of have help from work. That's the big thing. Like basically, I went from me being the only one doing what I was doing to having a second person in there. Made a huge difference. But I was at the point where I was like, I don't know how long of a break I have to take and be gone. So. Because I can't hard job thing, can't do this too. So it's nice.
And we each kind of all have like a couple days out of the week and that we're free and hopefully, they land on the same days for all of us. Some days it works and sometimes it doesn't.
All right. Next one, iTunes review. Awesome show, 5 stars by Thor Frog. Great podcast, cover a wide range of topics and stuff. Must subscribe for any gamer. Thank you, Thor Frog.
Thank you.
Next one, this was just 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. Gosh, dang it. Easier usernames I can't do. Aithanmeyer. AITHANMIER. Aithanmeyer.
Yeah.
Entertaining podcast. Love the mix of fatherhood and gaming. The guys are knowledgeable and have clued me into several good games that fell through the cracks.
I'm glad that's That's awesome.
Thanks. Worth a listen and a subscribe. We'll definitely shout you out, good or bad. Good helps us, though. Helps us be seen.
Yes.
We are currently being, when you search us, we're up there with the professional podcast stuff. We're close to them.
Let's
when you search
them. We want
video
to beat
games
them.
ads. Oh,
yeah. We need more energy. Yes. We're going to beat them.
I just, compared to amateur podcasts, we're doing, we appreciate all the positive vibes, but really we just get it from word of mouth and stuff like that. So anything, comments, suggestions, we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you
throughout
very
your
much.
reviews, your emails, we try to get back to you as soon as possible. We will shout out our email shout outs next time, as well as our new Video Game Book Club listener picks. Please send those in. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to listening to us talk about video games, fatherhood, and everything in between. From the three of us, we will say
30.
episode 30.
It's in the books.
Yeah. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.